Socialist Rants. I'm joined by Arch and V. He's still opposed to the petition, which is fine, obviously. I really like his reasons for it, though. We'll go through it. How's it going, by the way, guys? Before we start, right? Okay.
Just wonderful, thank you very much.
I'm very glad to hear it.
Same. I'm triggered by the poster behind him with the communist fist and the 18th of May. The date where everyone in Romania, the sick, the dying, people with cancer, people who had funerals had to go out and celebrate because, well, it's the day that the workers were liberated. Yay! And if you didn't, then the secret police would come and ask you, like, why is a member of your household not celebrating 18th of May? Are you against the communist regime?
Have you read his shirt yet? Liberty without socialism is privilege and injustice. I mean, that's the mindset of the people we're dealing with, man. Seriously. I mean, he literally thinks other people's free action and a system based on voluntary interactions. Don't get me wrong, I understand at the moment that, it is not going very well, it's gone too far. But the very basic idea of people just, like, owning their own businesses and, like, employing people and stuff is anathema to him, I think. I think he really thinks that's a terrible thing. I'm guessing that he, like, had to work at the corner shop or something when he was doing his socialist degree. I don't know what it was, but
I agree with what's said there. It's like there is injustice and privilege for some, but the question is, what other system are you going to replace it with? Communism? That's injustice
that's my point.
For everyone.
He thinks that it is possible to have a system with human beings that does not create privilege and injustice. He thinks that's possible. The question, it's like feminists saying, "Oh, well, we'll stop rape or something." It's like, no, you're not, you fucking lunatics. What are you talking about? This sort of mind control and thought policing, and it would literally have to be an Orwellian nightmare to fucking enact that.
And you will still not be able to do it.
No, of course not.
All we have to do is round-the-clock surveillance on everybody in the entire nation, and we need a really good person to be our dictator, and voila.
Yeah, but you literally can't create a system without privilege and injustice, because then you're going to get the privileged people who are the ones watching.
Yeah, but maybe they feel really bad about it.
Yeah, I think the sort of people who are going to get that job aren't the people who are going to feel really bad about it, are they?
We can have a system that every day a different person is watching, and then you'll have, like, everyone being privileged, because it's a different day, someone else gets to watch.
God, no, I'd hate to have to do that. What you've got to do, you've got to watch everyone doing stuff. And if they do something that's against the party, you've got to fucking send the Gestapo or whatever. And it's just like, okay, that sounds like the worst job in the world. I mean, you would... The efficiency of this system is going to be really low. So maybe that's a shiny silver lining. But yeah, so I think we should agree that we're not going to make any comments about his acne, because it's not his fault that he can't stop rubbing chicken grease on his chin or something. I don't know.
It's a constellation there. Like, honestly, the guy needs to get laid.
No, come on, it's not fair.
The power of the vagina compels you.
And the thing I actually really like most about this is that he's treating this petition as like a mortal and imminent threat to social justice. He's treating it really literally, and it's just like, okay, I'm not the government, you flid.
Mate, if you suspend his courses, what's left with his life? Like, what else is he going to do if he can't have his courses?
But yeah,
How is he going to get his PhD in social justice if you shut down the school?
So yeah, well, let's let him give his introduction. This is funny.
So, Sargon of Akkad recently made an off-the-cuff response to my video about his petition. It's quite long and more of a ramble than a tightly structured video, but nevertheless...
That is what an off-the-cuff video means, right?
Quite fucking literally, but hey, he's a communist, he doesn't really care about facts.
Nevertheless, he covers 3 main points. First of all, what counts as a social justice course, the problem he has with social justice courses, and finally, arguments in favour of his petition. I will address each of these points in turn before looking at some miscellaneous statements that aren't part of the central argument being made, but nevertheless are worth refuting because they're bollocks and it's funny. If you want to check that I'm not strawmanning him here, his video is in the description. So,
to his credit, he doesn't misrepresent what I'm saying. It's just that his... Oh, sorry, I'll let you get to it.
how does Sargon of Akkad define social justice courses?
Look, it's easy to define what is and is not a social justice course. They are literally called social justice courses. Social justice is generally written in the name. And I mean literally called like a Masters in Human Rights, Culture and Social Justice, or a minor in Social Justice, or a Social Justice and Education Master's degree.
Well, this is a start, so thank
Wow.
This
I
is
don't
a
know how more
start.
clear you can be. Like,
Yeah, I mean, literally, it's an academic discipline called social justice, you numbnuts. I mean, I gave you 3 examples, and he goes into these examples and makes my point perfectly for me. This is sorry, I know what's coming. I watched the first
rebuttal video. Not that I agree with Sargon.
Yeah, I watched the first like 6 minutes and was like, oh, this is just genius.
you for that, but Sargon, surely you would also categorise gender studies as
Sold. That's
Why,
a great
thank
proposition.
you for pointing that out.
I was just going to start small, and because this is where I think the actual you could do gender studies without being a rampant Marxist. I mean, Christina Hoff Sommers and Camille Paglia are 2 perfect examples of people who get gender studies right. I mean, women might feel that they need some sort of empowerment. That's fine.
But I have a question for him. If social justice is hard to define, how is he so accurately defining gender studies as a social justice course?
Because he already knows, and he's just playing word games because they know.
That's my point. It's like this.
Yeah.
These are word games. He knows exactly what
Yeah.
we're talking about. Then once the discussion starts, we can accurately define what social justice courses are.
Yeah, but look how on edge he looks. Look at the look on his fucking face. I mean, Jesus fucking Christ, man! It's a petition. It's not an order. I'm not the government, man. I think he thinks that the video is called "Grassroots Laugh My Ass Off" or something, and it's just like, okay, but I mean, literally, what we are is a grassroots sort of movement, I guess. The movement against social. It is just regular people. None of us have any kind of institutional power that we're exercising here.
It's an organized hate campaign.
a social justice course, right? I mean, you're not seriously suggesting that gender studies isn't a social justice course, right? I mean, if gender studies counts as a social justice course, then obviously it's not just about whether it has the words social justice in the title, and there is another element which is used to determine whether something is a social justice course or not, which...
Oh, fucking... Yeah, unbelievably, I'm not objecting to the words social justice. I'm objecting to what they're teaching in these courses, and I just know they are teaching the sort of thing that is causing the problem in the social justice courses, because they haven't been trying to hide it.
Honestly, if this is the problem, I could just reword your petition and saying, like, social teachers need to teach facts. Let's just see and peer review everything that they are teaching and see if it's fact or not, and who are the people doing the peer review. Because that's the problem. They co-opted the people doing the peer review.
Yeah, actual scientists should do some sort of review on whether their data's accurate or not.
Exactly.
Just because this is the thing about social science. Like, Christopher wins, oh, have you got a social science degree? Dude, you can't rely on a social science degree, and that comes from social scientists. So...
You know what I like? A lot of the counter-arguments to the petition is not like this petition is bad, it's like, we need to go broader and purge more.
I like the way he thinks. I was being specific. I thought I was being, like deliberately specific to avoid accidentally... Because like I said, there are gender studies courses that aren't just bullshit. They genuinely are, I'm sure. There might not be any more, but there were.
Yeah, I can tell you about Romanian courses. They are not bullshit.
Exactly. I'm not against not teaching bullshit,
They teach philosophy, they teach things that are accurate, like even in philosophy you can be accurate and you cannot be accurate. It's like, this is what Plato said, and then you quote Plato, okay, this is accurate. Or you can be like, this is what Plato said, and then you can misquote Plato, and that's not accurate, that doesn't belong in an academia.
Is it really that contentious? But I mean, again, look at his face, man. This guy's serious.
Once again, you have left undefined. The impression...
Hang on. I've left undefined something you brought up. I'm so sorry. I didn't define what you were going to say.
You just defined them, shown 3 examples, and he's like, well, what about this?
Example.
Let me build this nice straw man over here. Look how tough he is. Now watch me defeating the straw man, beating the shit out of him.
I just love the way I'm supposed to account for things that I didn't say.
Oh, and by the way, this random person on the internet might build up a 4th argument, so I'm just going to address that here.
Oh dear.
That I'm getting from all of the arguments that you make is that it's not the title of the courses that you're concerned about, it's the content.
Oh my god, he figured you out. Oh, shut it down. Shut it down. Milo. He figured it out. Shut it down.
I can confirm I'm actually quite ambivalent towards social and justice, and I am using them as a noun. You know, this is a proper name for a course. You know, it's
So Mr. Carl, are you saying that it's not the words that are triggering you?
no, none of it's triggering me. In fact, I'm.
Are you saying that they are not like in Bioshock, you know, code yellow, and when you hear it, your heart stops? It's like,
Yeah, no. I can confirm it is the content of the course that is the problem.
You know, what seems to categorize something as a social justice course is if it teaches people that certain groups in society, e.g. women, are oppressed or marginalized in some way. Now let's look at some of the courses that you've linked in the description. For example, the master's degree in human rights, culture and social justice at Goldsmiths. Note this last line. Can rights be claimed in such a way that they can really protect us as human beings against the creative destruction of global capitalism, state repression, the subjugation of women?
Do you remember he's trying to refute my point here? Just remember that pointing out the reason I gave these as examples is refuting nothing here. Go, sorry.
And hatred and violence against minorities of all kinds, sexual, ethnic, religious. Let's look at the next one, the social justice minor. Social justice involves the idea that in a perfect world, all citizens would have identical social benefits, rights, protections and opportunities regardless of their backgrounds and membership in diverse groups. Recognizing that the world is not perfect, the primary goals for the minor in social justice are to enhance sensitivity to vulnerable and at-risk populations, etc. By the way, having read into this one, it seems like it's a vocational course that you would take, for example, if you're wanting to get a job as a support worker of some kind, you know, helping people in impoverished areas.
See, isn't this just like all the more reason to sort of suspend this? You know, if it was more of just an abstract thing they're taught in academia, fair enough. But if it's something that they are then going to go and apply to people in the real world and go, well, let me tell, I know you're really poor, but let me talk to you about your white privilege. You know,
my
Especially
eyes
social
and my
workers.
cock are crying. Like both my eyes and my cock are crying at the same time. The intellectual dishonesty here. It's like, wow. Okay, so if a country first of all, we need to see why people are poor, because in a country, if you don't have resources that can go to all the people, you are going to have people that are not poor, and no amount of system that you can come up with is going to change the fact that your country does not have resources for everybody.
But no, it's not even that though, man. It's the fact that he's like, you know, oh look, you know, they're teaching them about oppressed populations and minorities and women and whatnot, and then they're going to go out into the community and work with the poor, and it's like, yeah, that's a good idea, isn't it? You know, literally teach them that black people are oppressed because they're black. You know, and they're poor. I mean,
who declares which are the oppressed minorities? You know, like, and how long are they oppressed? Even if we would say, okay, people are oppressed in 2016, Asian people in America, and we need to give them more rights, and we need to give them more understanding and resources and whatnot. And by 2025, because we have been doing this for so many years, Asian people in America are not oppressed anymore, and they're actually more powerful than they used to be. When do we get to say, okay, we need to stop now, they're not oppressed anymore?
well, presumably 50-50 on everything.
But they aren't enough, because they're a minority. They will never be 50-50 on everything. There's not enough of them to go around.
Well, hey man, that's why I don't support well, it's one of the reasons I don't support social justice. You know, it's never going to reach its fucking end goal. But you know, Cenk Uygur, like Cenk said, whites will be a minority in the United States. Woo. Fucking.
They are?
No, they will be, like 2060 or something. I don't know.
And that's a reason for celebration? Then there's
No. He was in a debate with, I think it was Ann Coulter, And he said this, and so he didn't cheer, but a bunch of people from the audience did. But he seemed to be pleased that they cheered, and it's just like, wow, that's. I mean, can you just?
How are you fixing the problem? If it's like, okay, whites are not the minority, are a minority now. Who's the majority? Mexicans. Okay. Well, then they're going to be the problem. They're going to be the majority.
Well, they're going to have Mexican privilege, surely.
Yeah.
And then it'll be Hispanic privilege and whatnot, and whites will be the oppressed underclass, and then they'll have social justice warriors fighting for them until the end of time.
Just one more thing before we go. He said that communism will make women happy or whatnot, right? Is the only form that you can give rights to women. The women in communism.
Did he say that?
Can you go back to the course that he was quoting? He said something that only through communism can women and minorities get rights. The previous one, not this one. Okay, so can rights be claimed in such a way that they can really protect us as human beings against the creative destruction of global capitalism? So I assume that he is against capitalism and he probably wants communism, right?
Well, this is the course that I was citing. But yeah, I'm going to assume it's got a fairly anti-capitalist bent to it.
There is absolutely no other system that humanity has made that gives women more rights than a capitalistic democracy. I mean, what else do we have? We have feudalism, we have communism, and we have anarchy. All these systems are treating women poorly compared to democracy.
Well, yeah, women have never had it so good in all of history under liberal democracies. Capitalist democracy.
If you want to see where women are treated better, look at the countries where majority of people are white. Boom.
Yeah, I mean, literally, they are the countries that treat women well. So I don't know what the argument against capitalism being the oppression of women is.
Except maybe Japan, so that I don't sound like a white supremacist. And
maybe.
Yeah, and Israel.
Yeah, but again, it's not like these developed them on their own. They're heavily inspired by Western democracies. Anyway, we'll carry on.
Would be a great idea. Let's look at the Social Justice and Education Master's degree. It will help students identify, examine and critique key sociological perspectives on social justice, citizenship, social inequalities, social inclusion and exclusion. And later on it says that it, quote, explores sociological perspectives on social justice and inequalities, including race, class, gender and sexuality, etc.
So, I mean, these seem like accurate courses to investigate, right?
Yes, especially that last one, because we were going to tell you how to find what is wrong. Right. That sounds reasonable, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean...
Are you a faggot, Arch? Are you a faggot? You're a faggot, huh? No, honestly, this is exactly like it used to be in the past, like the bigotry shown towards the gay people by the religious power, and now they're doing it the opposite towards straight people. It's like, you're a straight person.
But the point is, these are courses that should legitimately be investigated, just fucking, reviewed and see, are they actually, teaching students, actually look at the course material, watch what the teacher's doing, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, accurate information. If they're teaching accurate information, I have nothing against them.
Exactly, you can't argue
it. In the latest example, it actually does work, because let's say they are actually teaching them how to find inequalities, yeah? Mm-hmm. That would be fine if they can actually find the inequalities. For example, in the African nations, where they took all of the land away from the white landowners, that was an inequality. But can they find that inequality, or will they just look outside the window in America and go like, that black person looks poor?
Do they start talking about privilege? It's just, and do they start talking about privilege as if it is just a fact?
A genetical thing.
Yeah, that they generalize basically. And are the courses, do they contradict themselves? Because if they say stereotyping is bad and then they start stereotyping people, well, that's not a correct course, right? You're teaching people two different things.
Yeah.
The common theme here between these courses and with gender studies is that they teach people that certain groups in society, e.g. women, are marginalised. That's what seems to categorise them as a social justice course.
Okay, and hold on.
That's perfect. Right? No, that's fine. Man, you interrupt when you want.
Women are the majority in the US. Women have the right to vote. Why are they being marginalized?
He actually provides the perfect example there of just what we were talking about.
I know.
They teach that women are marginalized.
I know.
They just teach that. Women are marginalized. Okay, why are they marginalized? In fact, they have more rights than men in most cases.
Yeah. And literally, the idea that women are marginalized is hilarious because, like, I mean, literally, in the country that he's in, the BBC have now got on comedy panel shows. Comedy panel shows are really popular over here. And they now have a restriction that 50% of the panelists have to be female, right? I only know this because my wife hates female comedians. She's like, they're not funny. They're not funny. They're just not funny. And I'm like, okay.
Hey, Shorthead is funny.
Yeah, well, that's I've tried to tell her that. But seriously, but the thing is, the ones on the BBC, to be fair, aren't great. But this thing, they actually have a fucking quota for women. The idea that women are marginalised, and as if women have ever actually been fucking marginalised, man. Watch daytime TV. It's all fucking women's chat shows and Oprah and all sorts of shit. It's just men and women have different fucking interests in general. Fucking hell. But you're right, Arch. He's making the exact point for why these should be reformed. You know.
I mean, if you would preach this in Saudi Arabia, where rich people are literally microchipping their women in order to know that they are safe, and if a woman tries to leave the country, the sheikh, the prince, gets an SMS on his cell phone that the woman is trying to leave, then yeah, you might have a point. You know, women are marginalized there. But when you talk about America or Britain, get the fuck out. You know, like name me one single legislation where women are being marginalized.
Yeah, there is literally nothing. You know, the Parliament's full of fucking women. With a feminist preaching feminist mumbo jumbo in Parliament and stuff. The fucking Prime Minister of Canada's a feminist. Barack Obama spouted enough feminist bullshit in his time. Hillary Clinton is a feminist.
You have a queen.
You know,
it's a matriarchy.
Yeah, no, well, she doesn't do anything. She's really old, and she you know, it's a ceremonial position, really.
No, but hold on. If she goes on TV and has a speech, don't people listen to her because she's the queen? I mean,
yeah, but I don't think she doesn't write her own speeches or anything.
Okay, no. Let me put this straight. In Saudi Arabia, you would never have a woman in a leadership position, even if it's symbolical. Even if it would be like the woman that's let's say she's the only survivor of the current ruling family. That would never fly. If you actually have misogynists that want women to be in the kitchen, you will never have a country that has a woman even in a symbolical position.
Yeah, but it's hereditary, so it wasn't there was no option for it.
Yeah, I know, but I'm telling you, this would never happen in Saudi Arabia.
Well, no, that's true. It probably wouldn't. But yeah, anyway, we'll let him continue to make the case for the petition.
That's why gender studies counts as a social justice course, despite the fact that it doesn't have the words social justice written in the title.
Okay, you got me there, Cam. You got me there. I totally agree with you, mate. Look at his fucking face.
Besides the title.
Sorry, what?
I just noticed that's actual Karl Marx on his T-shirt, in case people don't know.
Yeah.
What they all have in common is that they teach people that certain groups in society, e.g. women, are marginalised, and that's what you're concerned with.
What?
Clearly.
It is clear. It's absolutely clear. It's completely true. I am against teaching people that they are oppressed. You know, it seems just kind of cruel to me. Just
if he would go into Russia, into Moscow, and like start preaching this, he would his pimples would be gone because they would be replaced with bruises and broken teeth from the Russian beating the shit out of him from teaching communism.
Yeah. Anyway, I've got to carry on because I can't stand looking at my own fucking face. The issue with these social justice courses can be summarised as this:
look how cute he is.
A sociology course should teach you about Marxism. A sociology course should not only teach you Marxism.
But they don't. You will also learn about other theorists as well as Marx.
Yeah, and you'll learn that the other theorists are wrong, and that everyone is actually oppressed and marginalised, you fucking moron. They are literally teaching it within a Marxist framework. You know, as if Marxism is going to be taught that there are flaws with Marxism, when you're teaching it in a Marxist fucking framework, honestly.
Yeah, it's like saying the Bible teaches you about other religions. I mean, the Egyptians had their own gods, you know, of course they were
false gods.
Yeah, they were false gods, and you know, like Islam teaches you about Christianity and Jesus, but of course Muhammad was the one that was right. I mean, wow.
Yeah, exactly. The idea.
just to be on the same page, you actually read some of these courses, right? You read Bell Hook's work and other feminists.
Yeah, I've read Bell Hooks. I've read a bunch of them. But like, you know, it's
so you're not talking out of your ass. That's what I'm saying.
No, not at all. And if you listen to them speak as well, it's not like they're going to change. I mean, when these people are speaking, they're generally talking about things they have talked about in their books because that's their field of knowledge, you know. So you can just watch them at a lecture on a stage or something, and you can understand what they're about.
I'm actually thinking about it, and you actually need to spend like £13,000 or how much is it to do a university on social science courses? Because
I'm tempted.
Otherwise, if you don't do it, if you don't experience it, mate.
Oh yeah. If I don't go there and waste my money on it, but no, I'm tempted to do it just so I can like get footage of it or something. You know, just be like, look at this nonsense.
But mate, I would like start a Kickstarting campaign just to see how feminists react to you going to that university.
Infiltrating university.
Like, actually see you going into the campus. Like, I'm so curious how it would end up. I would pay money. No, I'm serious. I would give like $1,000 to raise money so you can do a gender studies course.
Alright, let's carry on. Nobody is suggesting that these subjects should not be taught. We are saying that the method by which they are being taught has become corrupted. These courses are producing intellectual and social basket cases who cannot bear to hear an opinion that didn't come from the little red social justice book. They treat all dissent with the same intolerance. Social justice courses are creating totalitarians who want to dominate all spheres of life, from the nursery to the nursing home. Terrifies me more than anything.
So, if I'm understanding this correctly, the claim is that graduates from social justice courses are, at best, less tolerant of views that they disagree with than graduates from non-social justice courses, and at worst, they are people who want to create some kind of totalitarian society.
He has fucking communist posters behind him. There is a poster with a fist.
I know! It's just magical, isn't it? I love the way he says it. Oh, they just want to create some sort of totalitarian society. It's like, they're actually saying this, almost. You know,
the courses he quoted at the beginning actually say that the liberties of some are infringing on the rights of others. Like, how can you make it so that it's not totalitarian to fix this issue?
But, like you said, I love the fact that he's got the fucking communist posters in the background. Just the idea that, oh my god, yes, mate, there are people in society who want a totalitarian system where they are at the top. I know you're having trouble believing this, but they're the sort of people who... No platform people. They're the sort of people who go to a lecture and then pull the fire alarm and shut down with their stupid chants and chant things like "Hey, hey, ho, ho, reporters have got to go." We have these people doing it on video so many goddamn times. It's just becoming like, okay, now this is obviously a systemic problem we're having. There is a problem within the system. You fucking idiot. Honestly, the idea that he's... I mean, you must be pretending not to know about this, right? I mean, I don't know.
The latter is just an incredibly grandiose claim. But
that doesn't mean it's not true.
No, if it's grandiose, it's not.
Seriously though, I mean, can you think of a field or an area that social justice have gone to where they haven't tried to take control and police people's language and speech? Like, like speech, actions... anything like this. The rules...
even if you take feminism, they still police other feminists.
Yeah.
I think, the one that thought that transgender women aren't real women, and she's got the platform.
Yeah, absolutely. Jermaine Greer, Julie Bindel, Kate Smurthwaite, all feminists, with a public presence, all deplatformed by these psycho-social justice cultists. That's the thing, man. Jermaine Greer is full of shit. But she's not dangerous, She's not the sort of person... The idea that Jermaine Greer would try and get someone no platform is a really weird one. I don't think she would, I think she would think that she has the better argument. These people are actually infringing on other people's rights on what seems to be a fucking daily basis on this fucking point.
I'm actually thinking, capitalism, for instance, okay, that doesn't police people. It's like, do whatever the fuck you want
No,
to do.
it's literally a competitive society. You're meant to compete with each other.
Yeah, unless, there are some things that are illegal. For instance, you can't sell drugs, right?
Sure.
Or you can't have slaves. But those are like really, really small issues that the state says. But after that, go wild. Do whatever the fuck you want.
Yeah.
If people want it, it will be successful.
Yeah.
If people don't like it, it won't. And I can't believe that this person is advocating for a society where a group of people demand what's acceptable or not. I just want to say this before you resume the video. In communist Romania, there were a group of people that were declaring what's acceptable and what isn't, and they were deeming things that were unacceptable that didn't even have anything to do with communism. For instance, they banned rock music just because they hated it. No reason. It's like, it's not against the party. It's not against anything else. They didn't like it, so it doesn't get to be.
That's why SJWs are anti-porn. There's not any, as far as I can tell, there's nothing wrong with porn, but they don't like it because it's oppression of women, blah, 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 it's...
Yeah, it's like you want to create a system where a small group of people are sitting on a table and every day they're discussing, okay, let's look at what video games are coming up the next month. We don't like this, we don't like that. Why? Because I don't like it. Well, this might be okay. Don't like this, don't like that, don't like this. Oh, I like this because I'm friends with the guy who made it. And this is like the system that this guy wants to. But oh my god!
Not only that though, the whole thing. I mean, the whole concept of social justice necessitates the policing of other people's speech. I mean, they literally write these articles to encourage people to do it. I mean, for example, you want so this guy, right? I watched his video as to why he advocated for feminism. It was ages ago now, but I think it was probably something like, the systemic oppression of women, and he's contributing to it, right? So if he thinks he's contributing to the systemic oppression of women, he does his part by not being, not making jokes at women's expense or something like that, right? But now you've got the problem where you're not really reaching very many people, and that's still happening. So what you now have to do is try and stop other people from doing it, because otherwise the systemic oppression of women is still going to go on. So now he has to be, some sort of fucking action, thought, and speech police, because otherwise, what he wants to see is never going to happen. So what else are you going to do? What else are you going to do? What other options do you have?
Not only that, but it's even worse. It's like sometimes something can get really popular, and the party decides, okay, we can't have people doing this because it takes away from the party. So for instance, if football becomes really popular, we can't have people watching football because then they don't listen to our propaganda.
Yeah.
And there are cases where the party would just ban things because people liked it too much, and it took away from their indoctrination time. It is something that I just don't understand why anyone would advocate.
Mate, this isn't even strictly a communist thing. This is just an authoritarian thing. I mean, the English king in 1300-ish. I think they tried to ban football because it was taking men away from their archery practice.
Yeah.
And it's it's stuff like that. The thing is,
religious people as well. It's
I was going to say, this does smack of a priestly class, doesn't it? They've identified some problem no one else can identify, and now everyone has to employ them and listen to them because they are the new authorities on this mystical problem that they've invented. I'm kind of suspicious.
I did an evangelical high school. Don't know if I mentioned this, and the teachers there were like, video games are bad, and I'm like, oh, the video games where you kill people? No, all of them are bad. And I'm like, why? Because it takes time away from Jesus. Literally, that's the thing,
Do you have these problems in Norway, Arch?
No, luckily not yet. We just have women being oppressed and talking about the wage gaps once a year, and everyone else just ignores them.
Do you have taharush in, less porn, more taharush in Norway?
No, we did try to ban porn for a while, but it wasn't very successful because there was literally one guy here in country, Sweden, bought as much porn as possible, brought it back over the border, and kept selling it. Police would raid his fucking shop weekly, and he'd just go yeah, fine, I'll pay the fee, because he earned way more money in just selling porn. So
in Britain they banned the midget porn. I don't know why. Caning.
Oh man, mate, the Conservatives have some fucking I don't know, secret think tank or something. It's a non-governmental body that's advising or something on them, and for some reason they're banning a whole load of porn acts that aren't really that interesting. It's like a
They
woman
burn
sitting on a man's
face-sitting.
face. Yeah, he's like, what the
Yeah,
fuck, man?
why would I live on the planet Earth if I can't enjoy good old face sitting? That's
Yeah, just the idea that it's, I don't know, too racy to record in porn in Britain. It's just like, what are you talking about? You know, why? What? Why are you doing this? Anyway, we'll carry on
not
with.
to mention that they're hurting Britain economically because now people are going to watch other porn.
Yeah, that literally, you know, yeah. I know.
Let's just see if you can substantiate the least grandiose claim, which is that
Well, after I've substantiated the most grandiose claim, I don't think it's going to be very difficult.
graduates from social justice courses are less tolerant of views that they disagree with than graduates from non-social justice courses. And what's required is proof that these courses are having a systematic impact, because that's the claim that you're making.
Just think. Yeah, but I've proven that. Have I not?
Also, I adore how they continuously ask for proof while also stating, no, there are groups in our society that are systematically oppressed, e.g. women. Right. Prove that, then we'll talk about your proof.
Yeah. But even then, I have proven it. I mean, we literally know these courses are massively biased, absolutely riddled with political bias. The social networking thing is a real fucking issue as well, because, and like I said, consistent liberals are the most likely, almost half of them will defriend someone because they don't hold the same political view, or they hold a disagreeable political view. And then you've got them all passing around fucking, you know, these social studies, surveys to do studies from whatnot. And it's just like, man, how can you think that your data isn't going to be massively biased? You know, it's bound to be. And sorry, I'll let him carry on, because it's just like, man, I've proven this time and time again. Of Melissa Click at the University of Missouri, indoctrinating students into this bullshit, encouraging them to go and protest, and then using them as muscle to suppress the press at the event. These people should not be teaching courses.
But seeing as Melissa Click was
you missed the most important part about Melissa Click. This woman believes that black people aren't safe without her around. And when she is there, she uses her power not by using her own muscle. She just directs where black people need to use their own muscles. Like, she's in charge. It's like going back to the plantation period and saying, okay, this plantation is a safe space for black people. Okay, if you go outside, racism exists, but if you stay on my plantation, you're fine. I'm just here to defend you. Like, how is this white woman in charge of black people?
And notice their entire livelihoods are based on this as well. You know, this is what their jobs are, this is what they write books about, this is what they give speeches about. They get paid to teach black people that they're actually oppressed.
I mean, black people died literally, okay? They got killed on the streets because they didn't want segregation anymore. And they fought for their liberties in order to stop segregation. And now, because of women like Melissa Click, black people are segregating themselves. Melissa Click should go back into the time machine and teach the KKK how to actually be racist and be viewed as the good guys.
Just, it baffles me. But let's carry on this bit, Anne. These people should not be teaching courses.
But seeing as Melissa Click was fired, the University of Missouri's management seemed to agree with you.
What do you mean, but?
Yeah. She wasn't fired because of that. She was fired because she called for some muscle to expel a reporter infringing on other people's rights.
She didn't get fired because of that. Sorry. Check her facts. She got fired because she told the police to fuck up.
No. It was both. It was both. I covered it in my video the other day. It was
I heard she got suspended for the first.
Well, yeah, but she got suspended directly because of her actions. But they did fire her because of both things: the police action and the. To
be fair, I don't think she got fired because of that. I think she got fired because it went viral. If it wasn't recorded,
yeah, sure, they wouldn't know.
It's like no one would care. But I just don't think the university wants the prestige of having their professor telling the police to fuck off.
But no,
she took it to the pigs.
I love this guy's point though. It's like, and she got fired. It's like, yeah, when they saw what she was doing, the logical conclusion of what she's been teaching these kids and encouraging them to do, and then goes out and uses them to do this, they fired her because what she was doing was wrong. You know, they are in fact in complete agreement with me. And I love how
People
he's trying to use this as a rebuttal.
People
So
in
I
the
don't
chat
see how
are
this-
asking people in the chat are asking, where are your ears when you're speaking?
Where are my ears?
Yeah, you don't have ears when you talk in the camera.
Don't I? Oh, probably behind my hair. Look, I guess I'm one of those people whose ears like aren't sticking out like a fucking pair of jug handles or something. I don't know. I've never thought about it.
Example supports your argument. Again, what's required is proof that these courses are having a systematic impact, and you have.
What was the fucking protest at the University of Missouri, if not the result of a systematic impact? They got
How many
the
students were there?
dean and the vice dean fired for nothing over nebulous allegations of racism. And right, I'm just gonna get this.
Hold on, let's see how many students protest, because they were in the thousands, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And but in 2015, this was all across the fucking country. There were 60 universities, if this even ever wants to go to this website, where basically it's here we go. Across the nation, students have risen up to demand an end to systemic and structural racism on campus. Here are their demands, and this is the list of universities which have signed and linked their demands on this. Right?
Yeah, but how many students? Because
Mate,
I don't
thousands,
want people to believe it's like
fucking
20 or 30 students.
No, it's fucking thousands of students, right? And across all of these universities, it's like, look, are you going to tell me this is not a systemic problem? There is not a thread in all of these universities that's called, I don't know, social justice minor or whatever, that links them all. Because I fucking bet there is, mate. I mean, just the idea that you have to show this is systemic. Well, okay, done. Anyone got anything to add? It's not interesting.
Not really. I mean, the man is doing a wonderful job in proving your points for you, so I say let him continue.
Have not given that. In your video, problem professors, you look at one problem professor, namely Melissa Click, right? And then you say at the end, we don't know how many professors there are that are like this. We don't know that. So we're just going to suspend all of the courses.
Yeah, let's find out. That's the point. Yes, let's find out. Like, oh my god. And I like the fact that it's like, problem professor wiggling his fingers, and it's not a real problem.
She got fired for being a problem professor. He just said it, you know.
Yeah, I mean, first he starts off by going like, you don't have any evidence, and then he goes to present an evidence, and then he goes, yeah, but that's just one case, so, I mean, you have evidence, but I'd like some more, please.
We don't know how many it is, which is why you're calling to find out how many it is.
You know, the guy is for social justice, I assume. So if he sees black people starting to self-segregate, if he sees thousands of students making assholes of themselves, like, isn't this the point to say, okay, let's see what is causing this? How can we see Khaleesi unless we suspend the courses and we can look into it?
Or we can take this guy's approach and just move the goalpost. If thousands are protesting, that's just a tiny percentage of the total population.
That's true. Yeah, it's true. There are
Nothing
millions.
to be seen. No, this is exactly like the police one. You know, like there's this horrible accident where people are died. There's a penis on the road with some blood sticking out of it, and everyone is watching, and the policeman goes like, "Nothing to see here. Move along. Nothing to see." Keep walking.
You know, it just so happens he happens to be a firm proponent of social justice as well. It's just the coincidences just keep stacking up, don't they, Cam?
Yeah, it's like just go back to your video games. Nothing to do any concern about.
And if it turns out to be a waste of time, oh well, it's just education. All I'm...
If it turns out to be a waste of time, oh well, it's just education. No, if it turns out to be a waste of time, I'll be fucking thrilled, mate. If it doesn't turn out to be a waste of time, oh well, it's just education. You know, let's just not bother, because it might cost money. I mean, you know, you're a communist, you're not bothered about that. But
I will shut down my YouTube channel if it happens to be a waste of time.
Yeah.
I will never make a YouTube video again. If people go into these universities, they suspend them, and they then do see if they are bogus or not, if they're teaching facts or not, and they go like, nope, all of this is fact. You know, every single thing that is in this course is correct. Nothing is wrong here. Move along. I'll be like, okay, fuck it. You know what? I'm start shutting down my YouTube channel, closing my Patreon. I don't care.
I love the way he's treating this like okay, so we say that, like, you know, they actually was like, yeah, okay, you're right, there is something we need to do. Let's suspend the courses, like, you know, from the sort of like the next year and reevaluate them. A year's worth of social justice teaching isn't going to cause the collapse of society, you bellend. You know, it's just going to be no more social justice warriors for 1 year. You know, there will still be millions of them.
Someone in the chat, Sargon, sorry for interrupting, but this is actually quite interesting. Someone said, can you not look into them without suspending them?
Well, the thing is, we know they're causing difficulties. You know, that we know that they're causing problems. Is it not like something that should have to do? I mean, if you had a maths course that was teaching you incorrect mathematics, you wouldn't like be like, well, we'll let students continue to enroll into the course while we investigate. And the thing is, I'm not expecting an investigation of these things to be done in like a month. You know, this is something that would take years probably. You know, if you're actually going to try and reform social justice. So it's not like, you know, the people can just be signing up for this, surely.
I can tell you from a law perspective why you need to stop something while you're investigating, because this is why if you're accused of rape, right, and you're caught on the scene, you are being locked preemptively until we can figure out what happens. The thing is, you do this because if you allow them to continue, then they might instigate their students for more protest and more activism, and it would hamper the investigation.
Yeah, that's true. I didn't even think of that.
This is why you need to suspend it and then investigate it.
Yeah, but even then, it's just irresponsible. If you know that these courses, or, you know, there's strong evidence to show that these courses are not only factually inaccurate, but, you know, having some sort of deleterious effect on the students. Come on, as if you wouldn't suspend that. You'd be like, okay, well, we'll just stop that for now. We'll investigate it. I mean, why wouldn't you? Why would you let this continue? I
mean, the students would stop being indoctrinated and would look at the facts, and they would be all of a sudden, you know, influenced by the taint of truth.
They might not turn out to be communists. I see the problem here.
Getting from people on this issue is just isolated stories and vague anecdotes about how, this one time someone from one of these social justice courses they said that I was a racist. Oh, boo fucking who?
Wait, fucking what?
Oh, the Pope swastika, okay, which is not an isolated case and is definitely reflecting American society. That's a reason for thousands of people to go and protest. But 3 years worth of a YouTube channel with all your videos being sourced and, you know, everything. That's not.
But I love that this is literally like Christian apologetics for social justice. You know, it doesn't matter that across 60 universities, or I think it was more actually, I think it was 80. You know, there was a massive student uprising in favour of social justice, demanding,
thousands of students,
literally with students marching through hallways screaming, "We've got nothing to lose but our chains!" And it's just like, what? It's just an isolated case because someone called someone a racist.
Yeah, the president of the United States is talking about the 5 out of 1 race statistic. Bernie Sanders is talking about white guilt. Okay.
But not only that though. Obama made a statement against the idea of safe spaces because it's become such an issue.
I mean, let's think about why they are doing, because this is interesting. I watched your previous discussion with Mrs. Christy Winters, and she was asking, like, why is the president doing this? Because she doesn't know. I can tell you why he is doing it. It's because people told him that this is very popular with teenagers. Yeah. And if he says this, they will give him their votes. So clearly, a lot of people are believing in this 5 out of 1 statistic. So who is making this statistic up? Let's see. Oh, well, feminists in the social justice classes. You know, they're misinforming the population and they're having real-life repercussions based on a lie. Is this something that we encourage to go on?
I love that she just refused to answer that question as well. That was just like, okay.
It was a yes or no question. If she refuses, then it's clear what she wanted to say.
Yeah. But did you see? I'm always like aware I'm talking over you or something else. Did you want to say something about this?
No, I'm just baffled by the fact that he is continuously providing the evidence and then contradicting the evidence he just provided,
and then claiming, "Where's the evidence?" It's just one case of someone calling you a racist. Yeah. Like there aren't probably millions of them in America calling Donald Trump a racist, and that's against the fucking evidence. What has Donald Trump done that's actually racist?
Okay, someone said that V knows nothing about America. Like, listen, I've watched the Donald Trump anti-protesters, and I've seen every single flag. I've seen a Pakistani flag. I've seen the communist flag. You know what I never saw with the anti-Donald Trump protesters? Not even once. The American flag. Show me an anti-Donald Trump protest waving the American flag. Prove me wrong. Just show me a link. You know, where someone is against Donald Trump and he has an American flag.
Man, these people would not be caught dead with an American flag. There is no fucking way. They're anti-nationalists. They would, you know, they're someone else's nation, but never America, man.
Yeah, like, then tell me I don't know about what's going on in America. You know, like, just a simple observation, just watching the news, reading the newspaper.
Pretty much. But, right, okay.
Grow up. Being called a racist is not censorship.
What did I ever say it was?
Oh, and by the way,
it's a curse word to stop a debate by pointing at your opponent going, "You're a racist." Now you've moved the subject away from what you were originally discussing and onto him defending himself. "No, I'm not a racist." "Yes, you are." "No, I'm not." "Yes, you are."
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's exactly what it is. Exactly. But I love this example, though. I mean, hey, look how angry he is that I'm annoyed someone called me a racist. But, I mean, Jesus Christ, man, there are videos calling me racist. If you search for Sargon racist, you will find videos of people taking things I have said out of context and then claiming I am a racist on it. And he's like, "Oh, one guy called you a racist." No, one guy didn't call me a racist. And I'm not even bothered if they do, because it's not true. You know, I like it when you guys misrepresent what I'm saying and doing, because A, it gives me a chance to laugh at you in a video like this, but B, anyone who checks it and isn't, like, invested in one side or another is going to see you as the liar. You know, they're going to be like, "Well, he's calling him a racist, this guy's not being racist, why was, you know, there's clearly something wrong with this guy who's calling the racist." You know, that's at the point, like, I mean, I know I gain subscribers like that, you know?
I just want to drop that the chat said something. They gave me a picture on Twitter. Burning the American flag doesn't count as anti-Donald Trump supporters having an American flag, okay?
Has someone actually seen anti-Donald Trump supporters burning an American flag? Because that would be gorgeous to see.
I think they are. Like, I will
if someone
find
can
out.
tweet that at me, that I would really enjoy that. But yeah, Cam, yeah, I'm also literally an oppressed person of colour, mate. Or a quarter of me is. So, you know, fucking don't even give me this shit about, like, you know, I don't know, privilege, I guess. But anyway, we'll carry on.
Freedom of speech is not freedom from having your views criticised.
This is written by... Fucking... When did I ever say that?
He's misrepresenting the point. Like, he goes like, being accused of being a racist is not censorship. The thing is, it is being used as such. It is being used to deplatform people for hate speech.
Yeah. You know,
and then he goes on this. Like, I don't fucking get this guy.
This is just criticism of your views when you have 50 people turn up to hear you speak who then start chanting you down and pulling fire alarms. It's just criticism of your views. That's not censorship.
Obviously.
You know.
The Society of Professional Journalists discussing Gamergate, having more women than men on the panel. They had like 2 women and a faggot on a panel, okay? They had 5 bomb alarms being set to the police in order to shut down the event. That's not criticism of speech, in my opinion.
That's true. By Falguni Sheth, professor at Emory College of Arts and Sciences, Department of Women's Gender and Sexuality Studies. That sounds healthy. But let me just read you 2 very brief passages from the beginning. And this, do you want this person indoctrinating students? Listen to this. "I did not encounter the topic of race. Indeed, in seminars and discussions, even in the hallway, the question of race was usually roundly ignored. When it was infrequently raised, it was only to be laughed off as a contingent, superficial, and ineligible for the status of deep theory. And indeed, it was laughable to think how Heidegger would handle race, or why race should be a necessary consideration in the framework of the Frankfurt School. After all, Max Horkheimer, Theodor Adorno, and Walter Benjamin had already undergone severe tribulations as the result of racial attitudes under the policy of the National Socialist German Workers' Party. That's page 1 of the introduction. Page 3 of the introduction, I was still frustrated with philosophy, American political theory, and the academic discipline of philosophy at large. Why did the concept of race have to be dealt with as a standalone concept and add on
you guys
feature
can pause the video
to another core
pause it
field?
if you need to.
Why wasn't race considered an intrinsic feature of law, of political institutions, of political frameworks? Because of the Nazis, you fucknuts. How could you have racially discriminatory laws and think you are not a giant goddamn regressive?
Do you know how to read? At no point in that passage did she suggest that we should have racially discriminatory laws. What she was asking was, why isn't there a critique of political frameworks and law as institutions which are racialized but ought not to be? Given the long history of atrocities, why aren't people making an effort to expose the law as having these inherent racial biases? That's what she's asking. She's not saying that the law should be racially biased. And to suggest that she is, shows that you either lack basic reading...
What did I miss?
Potato, potato. By the way, I gave you the picture of anti-Trump supporters burning an American flag.
Fuck's sake, hang on.
It's in the chat. He's basically... right, Arch, we need to take over, right?
Well, we can't, because Simon hasn't given us control of the rabbit cast thingy.
No, but we can discuss what went on. And I found the picture of them burning an American flag.
Well...
and they're waving a Mexican flag. Yeah, they're waving a Mexican flag. I'm just, well... but it's about...
Like a fit of rage. Okay.
My favorite one is like "Make America Mexico Again," and it's actually true because parts of America did belong to Mexico, didn't it?
Okay, so their reasoning is that the American stands for colonialism, genocide, and slavery.
Oh,
Yeah, that
cool.
doesn't seem to make a whole lot of sense, but sure.
The only nation in the world that stands for that, you know? No other nation, like the Ottoman Empire, ever considered these things.
Sorry, I missed all of that.
I gave you the burning flag and a second picture as a bonus that you will enjoy. Just look into the rabbit chat.
Oh, fucking no way.
Way.
Make America Mexico again.
Fucking... Yeah, there's no systemic problem here, Cam.
Can
You're
you
right,
show
mate.
it on the chat
Obviously
so
not.
people can see it? Because it's...
Yeah, can you not see it? Oh no, of course you can't
No.
see it. Yeah, I'm doing like a screen recording thing, so everyone can see it. Oh, for fuck's sake. I think my son's a bit ill or something, because he keeps waking up in the middle of the night screaming.
Well, check his temperature.
But yeah, carry on watching the video or whatever, I'll catch up.
We can't because we don't have control over it. Anyway, we're just going to... Honestly, what do you think about the wall, Arch?
The wall or the world, did you just say?
The wall from the Night Watch. Hold on, just a second. Sorry for interrupting. I really am, because I know I keep interrupting you, and this is the last time, I promise. But people are saying, oh, it's from InfoWars. Like, I understand that InfoWars is a website that is quite controversial. However, this is a video footage of a recording of them actually burning a flag. So if InfoWars is the only website that wants to cover this shit, I am really sorry, but it's a video recording. You can see it with your own eyes. All right. I don't know what else goes on the site. I don't care what else goes on the site. It's not about Alex Jones talking about something. It's a video recording.
Well, I mean, yeah, it's obvious, isn't it? Even if this was literally the Daily Stormer, it's a video. Just watch the video. And I'm honestly starting to become in favor of the fucking wall at this point.
I mean, I don't think the wall will stop immigration, honestly. But at the same time, if it gets people so upset about it, it's a border. I mean, there are people in Romania that are against the wall because the anti-Donald Trump campaign is massive. It even reaches Romania. Like, I see it on television. It's like, oh, Donald Trump this and Donald Trump that. And I'm like, why? Romanians don't vote. But the thing is, if they're that against it, fucking build it.
Yeah, it's the exact same thing over here in Norway. The Norwegian media has continued to misrepresent Trump in literally everything. Literally just take him out of context, claiming he said things he didn't say. I don't know why Western media is this interested in slandering Donald Trump by literally lying about him. But
I know why. Because then you get more people that can go on social media and do activism against him. And then it's like, look, a petition was signed by 100,000 people against Donald Trump. Then you go into the forums of BBC and you see people that are against Donald Trump that aren't from America. You know, and this is the problem. And not only that, but every time I see a Romanian against Donald Trump, I like to point out that Romania has fences at its borders. It's not something that's... It's a fence. It's a wall. It's not something.
Yeah, I have to apologise for him. I'm pretty sure he's actually just doing this for attention now, which means I can't go in and give him attention. So, unfortunately, I can't do anything about it. I've turned my microphone down, so it should be less audible. But,
yeah, we can't hear it, and it's not that bothering him.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so what did I miss with this guy?
Well, he was saying that... actually, scroll back a bit, because he had sort of a pseudo-intellectual point. He was saying that they're not actual racist laws; they're racial criticism. It's a subtle yet very important difference.
And I need to remember exactly what he said. As the result of racial attitudes under the policy of the National Socialist German Workers' Party. That's page 1 of the introduction. Page 3 of the introduction. I was still frustrated with philosophy, American political theory, and the academic discipline of philosophy at large. Why did the concept of race have to be dealt with as a standalone concept or an add-on feature to another core field? Why wasn't race considered an intrinsic feature of law, of political institutions, of political frameworks? Okay, so I mean, we are literally talking... Oh god, that's a terrible face. We are literally...
I can't believe he's defending that, yeah.
So we are literally talking about him asking why we're not applying this to law and politics.
Yeah.
I mean...
because what could possibly go wrong if we do that?
Yeah, and I love that this person knows people who suffered under the Nazis, or fled the Nazis, and it's just like... literally because of racial fucking...
The communists would do the same. Like, they would literally put a worker above an intellectual.
Yeah.
You know, because the worker is actually doing work while the intellectual, the fuck is he doing? You know, he's a parasite for society.
Yeah.
But even more, it's like an example is why Jessica Valenti can't have men being paid less, because we don't have laws that allow men to be paid less. That's why, Jessica.
Yeah.
And imagine this. Imagine a household. My family, for instance. Okay, unfortunately they're still married. No divorces going on. And my mom finding out that now my dad is earning less just because he has a car. That's going to hurt the household. You know, that's going to hurt everybody. But no, this is why they're advocating for. You know, let's fix the wage gap by paying men 20% less.
So you know, this person's, you know, literally interested in racially discriminatory laws and politics.
Yeah, and my mom was just fired after that. You know, because now if men are paid less, why have my mom, you know, being employed? You can just fire her and hire a man in her stead. So now my family will be only one income. Only my dad will be able to make money, and he will make 20% less than he used to. Oh, I'm sure this is quite a genius law. Like, we really need to have it.
Yeah. The Nazis, you fucknuts. How could you have racially discriminatory laws and think you are not a giant goddamn regressive?
Do you know how to read? At no point in that passage did she suggest that we should have racially discriminatory laws.
What?
That's literally
I mean,
the letter of the words, but hey, details.
What? I mean, I don't even know how to respond to this. Like,
okay, maybe we don't know how to read. There are 1,424 people in the chat right now. If anyone got anything else, please stand forward and clear this up for us, because maybe we just can't read. You know, English is not my main language.
I'm looking at that part of the book right now. Why wasn't race considered an intrinsic feature of law, of political institutions, of political frameworks? I mean, what?
Yeah, why don't you make laws for black people? That's exactly it. You know?
I don't know what interpretation I'm supposed to have from that.
It's exactly what the Americans had during their slavery. It's like black people aren't allowed to learn to read. This is a law that is based on race. It is wrong. Every single university of law in the world is going to teach you that that law is going to be unconstitutional in a democratic country. You don't make laws based on race or gender. Jesus.
I mean, if anyone can explain this, I really would like to hear it. But let's see what he said.
What she was asking was, why isn't there a critique of political frameworks and law as institutions which are racialized but ought not to be?
That's literally not what she was asking.
And even if she was asking that, which she is not, if you're critiquing, so what? What's the next step?
Yeah.
Okay, you don't like the wage gap because women are paid less in a meritocracy. How do you fix it? You're not allowed, and take into account, you're not allowed to make a law that's discriminatory to men, because then...
Yeah, they're going to come to the conclusion that all of these things are terrible, but don't do anything. You know, they're not going to petition for it, they're not going to persuade people. Yeah, they just want to stay, just we're all clear, there's this inequality here, but I'm okay with it, so don't worry about it, carry on as you are. You know, and assuming this would be true, obviously. But
Arch wanted to say something.
Yeah, but she starts out... I have trouble even fucking understanding this, but even if we say that that's what she wants to say, yeah, critiquing these institutions that make laws based on race or stuff like that, that would be bad. Right. Which one of these institutions do we have today? Where's the institutional racism in America, or in Romania, or Norway, or France, or fucking Russia?
No, but this is the point. I mean, like, you're taking an institution that we know isn't a deliberately racist institution, and then you're going to apply, like, the racist lens to it. See what you can see, you know, like using a fucking invisible ink or something. You know, it looks completely normal, but when I show this purple light over it, racism everywhere. You know, it's like, mate, if you need to do that, maybe that's not really how it is. You know, maybe you're seeing things that aren't really there.
Exactly, and yet he's arguing against the fact that he's arguing for a totalitarian system. He thinks that what we are arguing for is totalitarian, yet he literally wants this small group of people who will find racism in anything to be the only fucking authority.
Yeah,
I don't get it.
He has a poster with a big fist in his back.
He is literally a communist. He's wearing a shirt with Karl Marx on it, you know, and he's talking. Where are these totalitarians? They're giving me a very angry look at the moment. I mean,
I want to know one country that had communism and wasn't a totalitarian regime. One single example throughout history.
Well, communism necessitates totalitarianism. How could you not have? I mean, people aren't all the same. You have to be totalitarian.
Every single communist country had this. Manufactured starvations by the state, where people died in the millions. The execution and the purges of intellectuals. Every single one. Like, there is not a single communist state that didn't do this. Yeah. Oh, and mass censorship, burning books, the Iron Curtain.
State control of media. You know, like communism is literally against personal freedom. I mean, in the Communist Manifesto, it literally says we want to, and I keep using the word literally a lot, but seriously, I get the feeling people aren't going to believe me if I don't say, look, it actually says word for word, the individual will not have private property. I mean, I can't think of something more totalitarian than that.
Someone gave me an example. The Star Trek Federation.
No.
Yeah, a fantasy. Yes, exactly. Something that's not real. Yes, exactly. That's the point.
Yugoslavia. Nope. You had intellectual purges. I'm sorry. Canada. Canada is not communist. The Paris Commune. The Paris Commune was not a communist state. I'm talking about a communist state here,
but
where they actually have a constitution where they give power to the workers.
Man, you know what I love about Denmark these days is that they came out and rebuked Bernie Sanders for calling them socialist. You know, they were like, no, we operate in a free market economy. What are you talking about? You know? I mean, they have socialist policies, obviously, but they're not a socialist state. But,
maybe I'm not informed. What do you guys know about the Paris Commune? Because a lot of people in the chat are saying that it's communist.
Yeah, there was.
It was communism, but it lasted for like a year.
Yeah.
Tops.
Yeah, it was the original communist that Marx distanced himself from. That's why he said, "I'm not a Marxist," if I recall correctly.
I see. Well, the thing is, like, the massive starvations and intellectual purges don't necessarily start in the first year, just to point it out.
No. But anyway, we'll let him continue making my point.
Given the long history of atrocities, why aren't people making an effort to expose the law as having these inherent racial biases? That's what she's asking. She's not saying that the law should be racially biased. And to suggest that she is shows that you either lack basic...
Hang on. So, he's going off on one now.
What she was asking was, why...
Right, so... Sorry, no,
Why isn't there a critique of political frameworks and law as institutions which are racialized but ought not to be? Given...
Right. He thinks the institutions in America are actually racialized.
Because otherwise, his statement here would make no fucking sense whatsoever.
Yeah.
So let me get this straight. If you go to a police station, the police captain is calling their police officers and go like, okay, so how many niggers did you kill today? 20? Oh, that's unacceptable. You are supposed to kill at least 25. Yeah. I mean...
And the thing is, she literally didn't call for that, though. I mean... What page was it on? No, I'm in the acknowledgements.
Because this is what I understand by a racist institution, you know? Like, how many niggers did you lock up today? Oh, not enough. We need to lock up more. And then they elect Barack Obama, which is a black president that no one likes to bring up.
But why wasn't race considered an intrinsic feature of law? Because we don't want laws based on race.
It was during the slavery period, okay? And then Britain said, cut that shit out, and they did.
But, I mean, why would you make it one? What relevance would it have?
And it precisely contradicts what he says, which is the best part.
Yeah, and I love the way that he knows what she said. You know, despite the fact that she wrote in pretty plain English what it appears. I mean, I don't know if there is a socialist hive mind or not, but I mean, how does he know what she actually meant if that's not what she actually wrote?
Oh my God, that's exactly what people who worship Anita Sarkeesian do every single time. You know, she never defends her position, but you will find people what Anita really meant to say, what Anita Sarkeesian is actually saying. Like, how the fuck do you know? You know,
basically. Again, look at his face. He's furious. How could you not know what my interpretation of her words was? I'm so sorry. She said something different as far as I can tell.
In the long history of atrocities, why aren't people making an effort to expose the law as having these inherent racial biases?
That's brilliant. Inherent racial biases in the law against... Okay, let's choose a law. Let's say selling drugs. You know, you're not allowed to sell drugs because drugs are illegal. If you do it and you're caught, then you will be prosecuted, and they've got a 3-strike rule in America, if I recall correctly. So, you know, I can't remember exactly what the first two are, but I think the third one is like 25 years or something. It's really stringent. It's like, how is that a racially biased law? What is the inherent racial bias there? Well, black people are most of the drug dealers. Yeah, exactly. It's like, well, that's not an inherent racial bias, you lunatic.
To be fair, you can have laws like that might discriminate towards some people. Like if you find out that, I don't know, most of the Jewish people are bankers, and then you ban banking, it will affect the Jewish people. So the question is, like,
but
the
not
person
all
who made
Jews
the
are
law,
bankers, and not all bankers are Jews.
No, I'm just giving an example. Let's say the vast majority.
Yeah, there might be some things.
Let me finish.
Sorry,
Because there is something that you might actually appreciate. If the person who made the law made it specifically knowingly that it's going to target Jews, then you have a problem, but you have to prove that this is the case.
Yeah, but even then, that's just their intentions. You know, their intentions might have been entirely racist, but that doesn't make the law racist. You know, if the law isn't discriminating against people on the basis of race, and you could, you know, literally have euphemistic laws, but if it doesn't actually... I mean, most black people aren't selling drugs, so most black people aren't being discriminated against by this law, you know?
I have an example from Romania, right? And it's not clear-cut. There was a Romanian television station that declared bankruptcy, and it was critical of the government. So the government wanted to close it down. And they made a law that television stations who are declaring bankruptcy are not allowed to continue anymore until they pay that debt. So now you can see that the people can have the discussion. Is this law made just because the government wants to get money back from people who can't pay debts? Or is it made specifically to close down this television station?
Yeah, you could have laws specifically targeting the poor and stuff, but that's not racial discrimination, so what's the fucking issue?
I mean, if I would have a law, for instance, like YouTube has for protecting against hate speech, you can have this law made specifically to target people like you who are criticizing feminists.
That's true, you could.
And that's kind of besides the point. This could be a thing, but is it?
Yeah, and it's not.
Yeah, but that's the thing. Okay, it could be a thing, and you have to prove that it is a thing before you can say, oh, blah, blah, blah. What feminists do is that they look at the law, and it's like, okay, this law is hurting black people because they are doing more drugs than whites.
Therefore this law is racist. Yeah, you're right.
The law was given to hurt black people. I'm talking about those.
No, you're absolutely right, though. They do backwards engineer. They look at the results and go, right, this must have been the intent. You know, it was obviously meant to target black people disproportionately because they sell... I mean, at the time, they probably weren't the majority of drug dealers either, you know, when the law was passed. But, fuck, who knows? Anyway, shall we... let's carry on.
That's what she's asking. She's not saying that the law should be racially biased. And to suggest that she is shows that you either lack basic reading comprehension skills or B, are being deliberately deceptive in your attitude here. I mean, it's there in writing.
That's
and
fucking
you read it.
rich.
You know what I would like to do? Like, if you would make a video out of this while he is talking, like, on the left side of the screen, show the actual writing.
But I don't know how he can literally interpret this any different. Okay, mate. If
can you bring back the law again? Just maybe it's been a while since it was on screen because you had to go with the.
No, I'll lose the place. But
okay.
Yeah, no, I mean, just why don't we have racially discriminatory laws? I don't know.
Allowed, and she didn't say that. Like, not even euphemistically.
There is a problem. I think we can identify the problem. We should halt what is going on and cut out the bad and replace it with good. This isn't that difficult. We just need to just look at what they're doing, identify the stuff that's bollocks. I mean, it doesn't even have to be us. It can be independent commissions or something. I don't know.
Do you understand how academic institutions function? The staff at universities regularly update courses to make sure that they're consistent with new literature that's coming out, and they adjust them in accordance with regular feedback from the democratic student body. You're saying...
Yes, they do, Cam. Yes, they do. And all of these people agree that women are oppressed and are marginalised in the West. Do you see the problem there, mate? It's the who is watching the Watchers? Oh, the Watchers are watching the Watchers. They've become a little incestuous system where they peer review each other's papers. And I looked when Gamergate first started. I found myself in this thing called the Fembot Collective, right, which was a collection of well over 1,000 professors from Canada, feminist professors, and they were doing peer reviews in it. And I read one of them. I should have a look and find it actually. But literally, they went through this thing. It was talking about patriarchy and privilege and all this male gaze, all that sort of nonsense. And the only thing in the peer review that was pulled out was spelling mistakes. They were like, "You've misspelled this. You've misspelled." Like, for fuck's sake!
You know? Oh yeah, that's not even what a medical peer review looks like. Even on a medical peer review where you actually do experiments and you have results, like other people will point out, like how much substance did you use? Like, are you sure this is? I'm trying to replicate this and I'm not getting what you got. You know, it's like it's an actual debate.
Yeah, but this is the point though, isn't it? You know, he literally thinks that because other social justice teachers and professors are like agreeing with social justice, it must be okay. But do I even understand how it works? Fuck me, man. Your description of how it works is the problem.
Yeah, man, this is a man who is perfectly fine with assuming that there are racially discriminatory laws without giving any proof or even having any example of this, yet he's entirely convinced that academia is more than able to police itself. Fucking okay, then.
And asking for a, like, you know, non-social justice commission from within any universities, I don't care, just someone who's not part of this to look at it and just fact check it. That's all I want. Is that really so much to ask?
Oh, we need to reassess them to make sure that everything's factual. They're doing that on a regular basis already.
So let me get this straight. Religious people are saying religion is true, so clearly it must be true, you know. Like,
But why then do we have video of teachers, like, they're having a teacher conference or a professor, you know, this sort of fucking thing, and they're like, yeah, literally, all white people are racist. Why do we have that being the general theme and consensus among these people? If they're already fact-checking it, how do they know all white people are racist? And why are they teaching it as if it's fact? I mean,
because the moment one would disagree, they would be kicked out.
exactly.
That's right. The moment a single person would say, okay, hold on. No, like, not only disagree, the moment someone would ask a question, they would be thrown out.
Man, I get emails from professors who say literally that, like, you know, thank you for doing what you're doing because I'm too afraid to say anything. You know, there are loads of people, like, Top Hats and Champagne did his video about anonymity and whatnot because people are literally afraid of speaking out against these people. And he's like, what, the totalitarian social system? You don't know what you're talking about. Yeah, well, we do. Why don't you shut up and listen, you know?
Summary of your problems with social justice courses is as follows. Social justice courses are courses which teach people that certain groups in society are marginalised. The blunt truth is that you have a problem with that because you don't think that these groups are marginalised. You don't.
That's precisely it.
That's
they
literally-
aren't
that's-
marginalised.
But I love the way he's saying this. I thought he was going to call me a racist or something. Right? Because
Well, he is. He's just being.
he's
a little
probably
bit
winding
roundabout
up to
about
it, yeah. But I was just like, okay, yeah, and you don't think they are? Yes, that is the blunt truth. Have I not been clear about that? I mean,
Well, clearly not. But then again, this guy's reading comprehension is somewhat lacking. So
so your problem with this is that you don't think this is true. So yeah, but that's because I've been looking at reality. You know? Oh my god.
think that women are oppressed, and therefore you have a problem with courses teaching that.
yes.
I'm so sorry that all I can do is laugh at this point, but seriously, I love the way he's saying it like it's an accusation, like you don't think women are oppressed, and so you've got the problem with them teaching that. That's exactly it. I mean, this is what I mean. He's not straw-manning me, he's just treating like this as if this is like some reprehensible thing to think. Oh, fuck me. Sorry, I'll carry on. Unless you want to go ahead if you want to say something about it.
I don't have
It's a simple
words.
case of you trying to shut down ideas that you don't agree with. Besides,
I'm also trying to shut down ideas that are factually inaccurate. I mean, you were saying about how, you know, I wanted them to, you know, checked for factual accuracy. Yeah, what is it? Yeah, I think things. I mean, I don't agree with teaching things that are bollocks, but I mean, I don't think that's just coming from a place of bias, you know, unless
And I love how he
being biased
presents
about.
that.
Sorry.
I like how he presents that because you want them fact-checked, and he says you want them shut down. So he thinks that if they're fact-checked, they will be shut down. Do you understand the words that exit your mouth?
But again, look at his face. He's furious about this.
vague anecdotes and weak, isolated stories, you haven't given any evidence for even the most moderate claim that graduates from these courses are less receptive to opposing ideas than graduates from non-social justice courses. Let alone...
I mean, we've already gone over this like
Yeah.
7 times, so
Yeah.
just move on.
this, grandiose idea that, oh, they're going to create a totalitarian society. Like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Did I
Rather
miss
than
the
expecting me to sift through
The
your insufferable
president.
YouTube videos, if you can link me to just one actual, proper peer-reviewed study looking at, the impact that these courses have.
Hold on,
right?
hold on.
And that
Hold on, okay, the President of America is expressing concern over what's happening in the universities, and he's saying this live on television.
Mate, do you have a peer-reviewed study done by social scientists on the problems with social science? Because if you don't, and you're in fact calling for one, you're in the wrong.
It's like asking the Nazis to go, like, are there any problems with the death camps? It's like, no, I can't find any.
The death camps are just fine, thank you. But he doesn't seem to understand that I'm trying to get the study. I'm trying to get these things reviewed so we can get some actual data on what's going on, so we can find out about these things. Do some social science on social science by people who are actually scientists and will know what actual science looks like. And this guy is presenting the fact that I haven't already achieved this as the reason not to do it. Fucking hell. What? Jeez. Don't drink the Kool-Aid. That is my advice. Do not.
He is like, oh, you only believe that it's a totalitarian state in the making. Like the president of the US said that the no speech platform on campuses is not the American way. You know, what more do you need?
Yeah, literally. I mean, a humanist the other day made a video saying, hey man, you didn't know that we were, there are a bunch of things that humanists are doing. I should at least feature some of what he's saying just so I can promote what he actually said, because some of it's good to know. There was actually an anti-no platforming campaign done by the humanists, the British Humanist Society in the UK. I didn't know about it because they're terrible at media, apparently, and it got no fucking coverage. But there was actually something. So there's a meeting on like the 15th of May or something. I'm gonna go down to it and ask them what they're doing so I can promote it.
One more thing about this guy, okay? Because he's saying that it's not going to lead to a totalitarian state. You have people from the USSR. You have people like myself from Eastern Europe telling people on YouTube channels, this is communism in the making. You have this faggot right here. This
he is a communist.
With the picture of Karl Marx on his shirt, and he is saying, oh, this is not going to lead to a totalitarian state. Well, excuse me if I'm not taking your word for it.
Yeah, excuse me for thinking that this actually is something that may have happened in history. I'm so sorry.
And it's not like it happened 100 years ago either, you know? It's
in one place.
It's still happening in North Korea. Like, if you want communism so much, go there. I watched it. There are a few videos on YouTube about North Korea. I can guarantee to people it's 80% exactly the same like Romania, back in the communist days. If you really want communism, go there and see how it looks like, you know?
I love the idea you get there and go, yeah, this is how it should have been. Fucking perfect. Just...
shows even slightly that graduates from social justice courses are less tolerant of opposing views than graduates from non-social justice courses, then great. But if you don't have that study, then I'm sorry, but I don't see.
But there's no problem at all. Then nothing's going on.
Because we don't have the study. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, because you're trying to get the study done and you don't have it. There's no problem. Shut up and go away.
Why I should bother wasting my time on this? And frankly, I think it seems like a really ridiculous and reckless idea to just, we'll just suspend the courses. And, if it turns out that they're completely fine, then we will have just wasted our time and denied people an education.
Yeah, and what happens? Yeah, but what happens if it turns out that I'm right? Then we have been indoctrinating a bunch of fucking kids, a generation of kids into bullshit, using fake statistics and faulty conclusions, and that is worth the investigation, is it not, mister? I'm about to tell you something different.
Do you want me to tell you something funny? If you would make a petition arguing to suspend math courses, okay, just to see if they're right or not, because apparently kids are coming out of these math courses and they know wrong math, they're being taught wrong math.
Yeah.
First of all, this guy wouldn't oppose it. Okay, I honestly think you wouldn't see this guy opposing. And secondly, if there is absolutely no reason to concern, if you would make a petition now asking to stop math from being taught, you wouldn't get 60,000 people signing it just for the lulz. Yeah. It's like, let's fuck with the math professor. I mean, I hate math professors, don't you? Let's just suspend his work for 1 year, just for the lulz. See how he reacts. I bet it's going to be funny. We can record it and have a laugh.
Just so you know, it's gone past 62,000 now. So keep
my
saying
bad.
That. Apparently it's causing them a bit of stress. causing to break
I
out.
want to see it going over 100,000, and then I'm happy. I want to see it reach over 100,000. I actually think it can reach. You have 300,000 subscribers, okay? I'm pretty sure that most of them agree with what you're saying. So if even half of them sign it, don't be the guy that is like, oh, I'm not going to sign it because someone else will. Okay, just sign it. It takes like 2 minutes if you agree with it, of course. Sign it.
Yeah. But I'm a bit annoyed that conservative media haven't kind of picked up on this a bit more, because you would think they'd use it as a fucking rod to beat them with, you know.
I wish Thunderfoot would pick up on it. I mean, there are different people that are subscribed to him than you, so...
That's true.
Now, let's look at some of your arguments about this petition, because this is where the sheer delusion and egotism really shines through.
This is a
I like the fact
grassroots
that-
movement. Sorry, what?
I like the fact that social justice warriors are skilled at everything. Like, they know psychiatry, that they can say when someone is delusional or not, you know, they can be like a doctor. They know economy, they know what's good for businesses
Yeah,
and
but when you
whatnot.
can read minds, mate, you can look into someone's soul. Of course they know everything. Fucking hell, man. You don't know how these people work. But sorry,
They know video game creator. Like, they know everything.
they're amazing. They're incredible. I don't know why we don't all become SJWs. Of people petitioning an institution because we are dealing with the effects of the bullshit that's coming out of this institution.
A grassroots movement.
Hang on, what other word would you use to describe this?
Authoritarian
hate campaign.
dictatorship, capitalism,
No.
big dog.
An organized hate campaign by the misogynist Sargon of Akkad.
But seriously though, I can't think of a more accurate. I mean, this is a group of people who are just, you know, well, not citizens, but I mean, we are citizens of somewhere. But you know, it's on the online space. But this is like, these are just regular users of the internet who are signing this petition because they're having problems with these people.
You're instigating them. See, you don't understand the double thing. When university professors instigate their students, that's okay because that's scientific. When you instigate your followers, that's horrible. That's hate speech. That's racist. That's gross.
Right. Okay. I'm activisting wrong then. Got it. But okay, go on.
Do you have a gender science degree? You don't. Then shut the fuck up.
Okay. Let's see just how ridiculous he finds the idea.
That's fucking hilarious.
Sorry. What do you think, Arch? Have you got any like other words I can use for this?
Other than a grassroots movement? Nothing realistic, but as usual, I would like to point out the authoritarianism in it, of course.
But
Perhaps you
maybe
should call your... what would the Assyrians call a nationalistic movement?
what would the Assyrians call a nationalistic movement?
Yes, a nationalistic authoritarian movement. You could
Religion,
call it that instead.
probably. The cult of Ashur. When the Assyrians conquered somewhere, they made Ashur the head god of the pantheon. They were like, no, our god's in charge, shut up.
A conservative hate-mongering campaign.
But sorry, okay.
Right, you haven't even addressed it to an actual specific institution. You've just said, oh, universities. Where's that going to be handed in? Like, at least if you address it...
He thinks it's literal, doesn't he?
Of course he does.
Well, I mean, if a student at the university would have concerns and someone would say, like, well, you're in the minority, they'd be like, no, there's 60,000 people who signed this petition. You know, like, Wikipedia can use it as sourcing. You know, like, you can have it as a source on a national newspaper. It's like, oh, by the way, 60,000 people are against this shit.
Yeah, I mean, and you can name them, and you can contact them, and you can ask them, are you a real person, and do you have real concerns?
I can pretty much make an article in my newspaper, and I would say about the indoctrination of social justice in universities, and then I would source to your petition.
He looks like he's emotionally broken at this point, doesn't he?
To, I don't know, goldsmiths, it'll be handed in to the fucking paper shredder. That's something. But this is literally going nowhere. You've said that it's just about seeing what the numbers are like, but by and large, the people that are signing this petition most likely are going to be your subscribers that are being directed to this petition from your YouTube videos.
Yeah, the wrong kind of people, see? No, your subscribers aren't people, man.
But I love that he's saying this like it's some sort of terrible negative thing. How do you think feminists do it?
Again, let
They
me
write
explain to you how
articles
this works,
with
because you don't
petitions in.
understand, okay? When in the university there's making petitions and 80% of the students are liberal, that petition is accurate, okay? Because liberal means they're in the right. When you make a petition and you get your subscribers to sign it, that's not okay, because they're conservative, okay? The wrong kind of people, the unpersons of the world, so they don't matter.
But I love his rationale for this. As yes, they are my subscribers, but I don't pay them. You know, they're not under my command, for fuck's sake. They're people who watch my channel, and I'm talking about an issue that I want to perform activism for, and have the literal grassroots fucking people who care about this issue support me in it. But, I mean, I don't know how else to describe this other than the grassroots campaign. Like, in Swindon today, there was exactly the same thing. There was, not today, sorry, it was last week. I've got a card for, this basically anti-conservative movement in Britain. So I was thinking about, I might get one on a stream and talk to one of them, you know, see what they actually want. And they were doing exactly the same thing, except I just happen to have a larger platform than they do. You know, it's like, but sorry, we'll carry on. I'm just like baffled by this.
So the numbers are not necessarily reflective of what the population at large might think, and it's a meaningless figure anyway.
Well then, guess we should ignore the vast majority of feminist studies.
Yeah, when they do their 1 out of 5 women getting raped, and they ask like 200 people on campus, those numbers are relevant to what actually goes on. Okay.
But the thing
But
is,
if you
no,
do it
hang
on
on.
YouTube,
No, fundamentally, I don't understand why he thinks a petition needs to be representative of the population at large. A petition is representative of the people, individuals, who sign the fucking petition, you monkey. It's not representative of anyone other than the signatures on the petition. That's what a petition is. That's why you get people's names and addresses. It's not a social science study, you fucking mongoloid.
by the way, do you remember when this guy spoke against the petition of banning GTA 5 from Target?
All the time. I watch that video constantly. It's his most viewed video.
Yes, and he also spoke out against the petition to get what was her name, Joker and Barbara off the cover of DC Comics. You know, this person is so firm in his beliefs. Every single time there's a petition that's unjust and is for banning things, this person is on the case.
I'm not even trying to ban anything. But this is just amazing. I love the idea that he thinks a petition has to be representative of the general population and doesn't. Petitions always represent a special interest group, you fucking moron.
Yeah, it's like, how many people are interested in this? And it's not even accurate. It's like, we know for sure that these people are interested in this.
And care enough
to
want to make their voices heard.
We don't know, but for sure there aren't less.
Yeah, and 60,000 is apparently a meaningless number. So, okay, mate, what is the number? What do I need to get this petition to? You know, what?
Well, to be fair, it's like 60,000 people from around the world.
Yeah, but 60,000 people who have a serious issue with something is 60,000 people who have a serious issue with something. It's a special interest group.
Besides, again, what is the number? Even if he gives a number, he's going to move the goalpost again, isn't he?
Exactly. He's never going to define a number, because then I might reach the number, and he'll be like, well, okay, well, now I have to admit that I was wrong.
Let's ignore that for the time being and assume that, God forbid, the views of Sargon of Akkad's subscriber base are somehow reflective of the views of the general public at large.
Because my subscribers... No, listen, right, you have to understand. My subscribers all live on the same island. They live on this little isolated island somewhere out in the mid-Atlantic. And that's literally where they live.
No, hold on. Like, I do think he might have a point, because he's saying that your subscribers are indoctrinated by you. You know, it's like,
oh yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty much like people from the academia that are indoctrinated by social justice. So, like, I'm really curious to see where this goes.
I am as well, but I love the way he thinks that my subscribers aren't drawn from the general public, and that they need to be representative of them anyway. This is absurd.
I think what he's trying to say is that your subscribers have a bias. Okay, that they're more leaning towards you.
Well, yeah,
I'm sure by association, though.
Yeah, but I'm sure my subscribers are more biased towards me in favor of, like, you know, anything else, like an SJW. But that doesn't change that they are still people with every right to make their voices heard about an issue that is affecting them.
No. They're like Mowgli being hypnotized by the snake cop, and they have to watch it every single day. Like, I hate Sargon of Akkad, goddammit!
It doesn't even matter. Imagine if they were just complete indoctrinated cultists. Imagine if my subscribers were actually SJWs, right? They would still be people who have the right to petition.
There are like at least 5 of your subscribers with YouTube channels that made videos against your petition.
Yeah, that's true. And I literally sit there and had a debate with each one of them, or a discussion with each one of them on Skype about it, and they were like, well, maybe, but I don't know, and stuff like that. That's fine.
The fact that your petition doesn't already have 300,000 signatures means that a lot of these people are actually against your petition, or don't support it enough.
Yeah.
Not necessarily against, but they don't consider it to be an important issue.
Absolutely. But
hold on, let me put my glasses. Oh, look! When I look at your channel, it says "obey, must watch."
But this is the thing. Even then, as if these people don't have the right to be heard. You've got 60,000 people saying, "Look, I want to be heard," and you're like, "Well, you're not representative of the general population, therefore I'm not going to listen to you." It's like, well, motherfucker, you don't know who they are. You don't know who signed this.
You should start the cult of Negan. It's like, I am Sargon. All of us are Sargon.
Right? Now, you've got some numbers, right? You're serious about this, so why don't you actually petition an actual institution to see how they react?
Well, I might, when we find out that plenty of people want something to happen. I might literally go to an institution. I'll probably go to the press first. When we get... I was thinking 50,000, but I might leave it, leave it for like a couple more weeks, see how many...
100,000, you should go to the BBC.
Well, yeah, I certainly go to like the Daily Mail. I'm not a fan of going to the Daily Mail, but they will talk about it. I really think they would. I mean, they did a big thing on Bahar Mustafi. They don't like social justice, so I suspect there may be a natural ally there.
Anyone can use it. Even I can use it.
Of course
if my university would talk about this rubbish, I could take the petition and show it to the dean of the university. And look, mate.
This is a larger issue you're clearly not considering, so let's consider it. But, so go on.
Goldsmiths, for example. How do you think they're going to react? Oh, look, Sargon of Akkad and his subscribers have said that they don't like social justice courses.
Sorry?
It's actually signed Carl Benjamin. It's not signed Sargon of Akkad.
Yeah, because I'm unbelievably a person as well. But anyway.
Better suspend that master's degree. Seriously? What?
No, not seriously. I said it in the video that I launched the petition in. This is not going to get anything suspended. I mean, I said those words.
No, mate, this guy has the mind control device, and he reads your thoughts, and he knows why people signed it, and he knows everyone who signed it is a subscriber of you, literally every single one, and if they aren't, they need to. I mean, it's not like Breitbart talked about your petition, and someone who doesn't know who the fuck you are but reads Breitbart might have signed it. It's not like someone might have posted it on Facebook, and, his mother might have signed it. It's like, oh God, maybe this will get my kid to stop being a communist and actually get laid, and I might have grandchildren.
Incidentally, you say that actually. The few days after the petition went live, I ended up getting about 5,000 new subscribers. So, I'm guessing some people.
I'm pretty sure it has nothing to do. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it has nothing to do with every single one of them being your subscriber.
But even if it did, it wouldn't change anything.
Of course not. But it just proves that this is his mind reading skills, right? And you can even read the comments, and you can see why people signed it. There's some very insightful comments there.
Yeah.
Why would they answer to you or your subscribers? You're not a part of the local community, let alone a part of the student body. To them you're just some random prick on the internet with a following and a lack of self-awareness.
Said the communist saying, who's asking for a totalitarian society?
Let me get this self-awareness how it goes, right? The guy, you decided, okay, let me make a petition. Now, you could have made an ass out of yourself and no one would have signed it.
Yeah.
Or 10 people would have signed it, and that would have been on your reputation. But you're like, okay, so this is something that people might be interested in. Okay, this might make some numbers, and it actually made numbers. How can it be clueless? How can he say that you are clueless of what's going on?
Yeah, but now it's 60,000 people who simply don't matter. You know, their opinions, they don't matter. They're not part of the local area. It's, oh, really? If this was contained to goldsmiths, then I would agree with you. But if you hadn't noticed this, I'm petitioning universities in general because it seems that most of them have a problem. I mean, this is literally across the West, in Canada and Sweden and fucking the United States, in Britain. We are having this problem everywhere. So, in fact, when you say local, it is. These people are all in locations that have a problem with social justice, which is why they've signed the fucking petition.
To be fair, hold on. To be fair, it's the exact same argument that he used when feminists are starting the boycott Game of Thrones petition that has over 1,000 people signing it, okay? It's the exact same argument he used on their petition that he's using on your petition.
Yeah, so of course he doesn't care when they do it. But yeah, what do you reckon, Arch?
No, again, his entire argument is that 60,000 people isn't enough, and the 60,000 people it doesn't matter because they tend to watch your channel. It's a completely pointless argument. I don't even want to give him the time of day for it.
Okay.
Asking your YouTube subscribers to sign a vaguely worded petition to an unspecified institution that's going to be handed in nowhere. A grassroots movement, apparently.
Why is he so bothered about it? If he's trivializing and he thinks it doesn't matter, why is he so butthurt about it? I don't understand. It's like, well, it's just like, look about the petition with feminists trying to boycott Game of Thrones, right? It's 1,000 people. I just don't care. You know, it's not something that interests me.
I'm a fan of Game of Thrones. So it's not going to happen, you know.
Yeah. Why would I make a 20-minute video bitching and complaining about a guy making a petition online that has no importance?
This is not the first video that's been like 15-20 minutes of him doing this either. So this is the thing. I think he genuinely understands that this is the first step on making this a legitimate conversation. To show that there are so many people who want to have the public dialogue of social justice is a problem. He believes in social justice. This is why he's so triggered by it.
Yeah, I mean, he's not even making fun of it, because I might post the petition with feminists banning Game of Thrones on my channel just to laugh at it, you know, and I would provide some entertainment from my subscribers. But this guy isn't doing this. He is literally taking you seriously, and he identifies this as a problem that needs to be stopped.
Yeah.
You fucking hemorrhoid.
Do I really think 30,000? Now I wish I thought of a better insult for him. Fuck, hemorrhoid's
you
a good
are a
one.
hemorrhoid, mate, because
you
are causing him butthurt. You are causing him butthurt.
That is a beautiful picture too, by the way.
Yeah, that is. I'm going to carry on. Absolute disgusting
Sargon's face. Oh, that causes butthurt. Someone needs to draw this. No, seriously, I want someone to draw a column and a hemorrhoid with Sargon's face on it. That would be awesome. And send it to Sargon on Twitter.
I look forward to getting that spammed at me 1,000,000 times on Twitter. We've gone out of their day to go out of the way to sign a petition.
It's a fucking petition, Sargon. It's clicking a button. You don't have to take time out of your day to click a button.
Yeah, and unbelievably, there are people who don't do it still. You know, people who
I agree with it. I agree. I hate petitions, mate. I need to come out from the closet and say I despise petition. This form of activism is fucking cancer. But since feminists do it all the time, I just want to see, you know, what would happen if I would start one. You know, what exactly would happen if I would fight fire with fire? And apparently it's starting the beehive at this point.
Yeah, it's exactly. It's definitely shaking them up, isn't it? Why would they be signing a petition? Wouldn't they just be sending horrible messages to various SJWs or various women or black people or whatever it is you think the bigots are doing?
Oh yeah, totally. You know, they must think, oh, I don't have time to send death threats to Anita Sarkeesian today. I'm too busy signing this petition.
Yeah, thanks for proving my point that these aren't the people who are sending Anita Sarkeesian death threats.
No, I think what he's trying to say is that it's too easy, but the guy doesn't take into account that people have principles, and maybe they don't want to sign a petition because they don't fucking agree with it. But if that wasn't the case, your petition would already have 200,000 subscribers, wouldn't it?
But not only that, people are also afraid of signing it. Literally, I keep saying literally, I've got to stop. Because I genuinely mean this, this really happened, where people would say to me things like, I don't want to put my name on it because I'm afraid of what might happen. You know?
I know.
I would reply to these people and look, man, it's the risk we're all going to have to take. You know, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
60,000 of us, I think, will be okay, just safety in numbers, like, but...
I have the same person from Canada, which I play video games with, and she said that she's afraid of saying this because she's a university that is with social justice, and she doesn't want her name on it. You know,
Because in Canada, you might actually be brought to court for this shit.
Yeah, seriously. And he's like, you know, it's just signing, it's just a click of a button. Well, A, it's not just a click, it's, you know, more than a like and whatnot. And if we look at, like, your video, what's the like to dislike ratio? Oh my god, 3,000 people have watched it and only 500 have upvoted it. That must mean they all think your fucking video sucks.
It's almost as if people on the internet are kind of fucking lazy about this shit.
They just have it on a fucking playlist or something, you know, the autoplay or whatever. It just, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, some people might not click it even because they're lazy. I'm pretty sure there are some of your subscribers that can't be arsed. Because I can't be arsed. I have
Tens
to
of thousands
move the
can't be
mouse
arsed.
all the way up to the link. Okay, I need to sometimes click the show more under the YouTube video to find it. Then I click, then it's loading. Okay, and then I have to complete the fields, and then I click sign. It takes a while. I might be as well jerking off. I can probably reach halfway of an orgasm by then. And to say that this is the only reason why people wouldn't sign it, no, some people might disagree, and you can see this with the woolly bumblebee, you know, that.
So in the chat, there's someone called Bobby Jones, which I'm guessing is Cammy's sock puppet. He's just like, you know, he's fat, lose some weight, you piece of shit. Man, on every fucking video I do with my camera, my face on, they're like, are you losing weight? It's like, dude, it doesn't happen overnight, alright?
Okay. By the way, Sergeant.
Yeah.
You've lost a few pounds, didn't you?
Well, I've been trying to, yeah.
Yeah, I heard you working out. You were like, and then you stopped doing that.
Yeah, kind of. Anyway.
I know. Working out is hard. You don't get the green
Occupying all of my time with clicking this button. They can do more than one thing, Sargon. Did that never occur to you?
Would they... What? You think they can click a button on two places on the screen at once? What the fuck are you on about?
He's reaching it for straws here, because, like you said, even the like-dislike ratio, most people don't even fucking bother hitting that button.
Yeah.
Never mind going through the steps of signing a petition.
Yeah, clicking on a separate link, going to a separate web page, and if they haven't got a fucking account, they've got to set one up, or they've got to log on their Facebook, and again, it's all a fucking palaver, man. I wouldn't bother. Honestly,
let me tell you,
I just watch
YouTube
the
has
video.
a system for lazy people so that YouTube makes more money. If you watch a video and you wait 4 seconds, then the next video will be automatically played for you, because YouTube already knows people can't be asked on clicking different links.
Exactly.
But you know, I didn't consider that. You know, it's just clicking a button though. Would they even couch
It's actually clicking for
this in the way I've couched it? Wouldn't they be like, you know, black people are a danger to society or something? Would they really be talking about individual rights? Would they really be talking about freedom of expression? I don't think they would.
Because as we all know, racists are always open about their racism, right?
Wait, look at his face. I don't like doing this. I hate ad hominem attacks. But isn't he like about to burst in tears any second now?
Yes.
I mean, he is like a woman that cried under a tissue, and now it's like, you know, like after breaking up and she's smiling and saying, I'm okay, I'm fine, there's nothing wrong with it.
I love the way that his acne gets worse the more heated he gets.
I want to give him some medical advice, by the way. His haircut is really bad for his skin, because the acne is actually going to develop better because the hair on his forehead is going to offer it more warmth, and his greasy hair is going to cause his acne problem to be worse. So he just needs to have a haircut with no hair on the forehead.
But how does that explain his hairless chin?
Maybe he doesn't shave as much.
He doesn't grow a beard. Look at him. He hasn't got a beard.
Well, not shaving actually increases the chances of getting acne. He probably went like, okay, going to go out of my Marxist bedroom right now to shave because I'm making a video.
I don't think he needs to shave.
Look at this man. He's a child.
I shouldn't do ad hominem attacks, okay? But after 40 minutes of watching this, and the fact that he called you a hemorrhoid, I think the game is on.
That's right. Shut it down. I can't even. What did he say? I wasn't actually. I can't remember what he fucking said now.
Something about black people. Probably he wants a nigger dick to wipe the acne from his face, you know, like a sponge.
Yeah, that was right. Racists aren't always honest about their motivations, and it's like, you're right, they're not.
Yes.
They're not. But most of the time, they really can't help but show that they're racist. You know, it's one of these things that's like, it's difficult to hide when you're being so openly bigoted. But I mean, don't get me wrong, he is right. You know, they could have couched it in this language. I just don't think it's entirely likely that they would have done. I mean, in my experience, they actually start talking about the integrity of the white race and the future of the white race and all this sort of stuff. You know, they talk about white genocide and all this sort of thing. It's like, okay, you know, they don't. I mean, they're generally not in favour of freedom of speech. But I mean, maybe,
I mean, look at the people from the alt-right. Not all of them, I might say. Okay, some of them who are openly racist. They're like, okay, we hate black people. We want them deported to Africa. I mean, these are racist, and you can show. Okay, they're not hiding it. If you call them a racist, they'll be like, yeah, I'm a racist. I don't like black people. You know, I think black people are inferior than whites. They have less IQ. Blah blah blah. They will argue their decision of being racist.
yeah.
You know, most racist people are fine with being called racist.
Yeah, but he thinks that there is some deep stigma in the mind and the heart of a racist person where they think, I know I'm being wrong to be racist, but I'm such a bad person, I just can't help it. You know, these people don't think it's wrong to be racist because they have justifications.
But this guy thinks that racism is systematic in America, the countries.
Yeah.
In countries with black presidents. This man is capable of thinking most things, honestly.
Yes. And the thing is, that's another thing. If you lived in countries that are, I mean, they have systematically racist institutions, why would anyone be worried about being called racist? What are the police going to do? Arrest you? They're racist. Why would they?
I mean, okay, let's take Saudi Arabia, for instance. Okay, Saudi Arabia is misogynistic towards women, right? If you're a man and you disrespect women in Saudi Arabia, you say something like women belong in the kitchen and they shouldn't go to work or they shouldn't get an education.
You get applauded.
Yeah, and okay, they're also racist towards the Jews, I assume, right? So if you say that Jewish people need to be thrown out of the country, who would care?
Well,
you know?
no, mate, right? Go on Memory TV, the YouTube channel, man. There was, I think it was, I can't remember if it was Oman or Yemen, kids program where they're just teaching them that the Jews are evil. It's a kids program.
Oh my god, there's a Mickey Mouse doing that.
Yeah.
And by the way, he's called Farfour.
Hey,
I think he's on Hamas TV, and he gets beaten to death by the Jews. And this is like children television show. So he gets beaten to death by the Jews because he doesn't want to sell the Jews the land his father owned. And it's like, oh, this is how evil the Jews are. And this is sent to kids, by the way.
And I'm just gonna, here we go. We won't watch the whole thing, like, but here's like
because a lot of people don't know about Farfour, and it's really eye-opening about what actual racism is.
Holy shit!
Steve is an aggressive.
Imagine talking about this about Muslims in UK.
No, or black people or something like that. I mean, this is like what like actual racism looks like, and he thinks that these people would hide it. You know?
He thinks it's some kind of subtle thing, like it's sneak thing. Just Ku Klux Klan is standing behind Barack Obama like this'll fool them.
You know what the funny thing is? That if you would say in a university that white people are the aggressors, that white people are colonialism, you'd get applauded.
Oh, of course. But in fact, they are a foreign bacteria, a microbe. Mother of God.
Shut it down.
Neither religion nor conscience.
You know, hold on. Someone pointed out the fact that he's wearing a jacket in the middle of the day.
He looks like Uncle Fester, but with a fucking headscarf. Jews don't have moral values. Just
don't you think the alt-right people would agree with this man?
yeah, of course they would. I don't know why they don't convert to Islam.
Honestly, this is the real far-right movement. You know, this guy is actual far-right. You don't get more far-right than this.
Absolutely. People forget that the Nazis took a lot of their inspiration precisely from these fuckers.
I mean, this is the point. That people who are actual racists...
They are not human beings. They are not people. They have no religion, no conscience.
And they because they're infidels, they can't do anything.
You know, the thing is that you can't even ask them, do you think all the Jews are like this? Because you will say yes.
This is literally calling for a Holocaust. Okay, that's just magical. I mean,
But look at him smiling when he says this. Look how happy he is.
you know, so, exactly. Look how thrilled he is to be saying this. But suddenly, I'm starting to understand why Israelis are so cagey about Israel. You know, I mean, if you literally have this on TV, stop saying literally. If you have this on TV or like across the Arab world, people saying
But it is literally on TV.
It is, yeah, I know. But I feel need to say it because I don't think people would believe me if I fucking didn't say that. You know, they'd think I was being euphemistic.
Look, this guy is actually asking for the annihilation of all the Jews because they tried to kill our prophet several times. Oh my God! This is exactly what SJWs are saying because of what white people did in the past. They need now to be punished.
So yeah, I think this kind of establishes what actual racists look like. Let's carry on about the hidden racism that racists are afraid of and ashamed of.
I need to say
Hi, I'm a racist
first.
Sorry?
Someone in the chat is like doing the massive amount of getting my attention. So hello, Josh Cambers. Now you can watch the stream.
Yeah, chill out, dude.
Racist. Black people are a danger to society. You know, it's not like racists would ever lie to people by dressing up their racism in more palatable language.
And the British National Party isn't about selling out its ideas, which are your ideas too, but we are determined now to sell them. And that means basically to use these saleable words, as I say, freedom, security, identity, democracy. Nobody can criticise them.
The fact that you think racists would simply be open about their racism is stunningly naive.
Oh, you poor child.
He really needs to speak with the outright. I mean, these people, they're openly racist, and they're like SJWs. They have their own quote-unquote pseudoscience and statistics, and they go like, look, black people, it is statistically proven they have less IQ than whites, so we need to stop talking with black people.
You know, though, he does have a point, yes. A politician in Britain who is openly racist is going to pretend not to be racist. Well, not openly then, who is an actual racist, is going to pretend not to be racist because of the anti-racist sentiment in Britain. You know, that's true. But I'm not a politician, neither are the people fucking signing this petition, so why would we need to hide our racism? We're not asking you to vote for us.
But here's the thing, even if a politician in Britain is hiding the fact that he is racist, the other people in the parliament are going to stop anything that is racist legislation coming from him, because the other people are not racist. So unless
if he's introducing it into a non-racist system, then you know,
if it reaches to a point where all the politicians are racist, then by then they don't have to hide it anymore.
But even then, if they're not passing legislation that discriminates based on race, what's the problem?
Oh, you don't understand SJWs, mate. If they would have a doctor that can invent the cure for cancer, but he hates niggers, they would rather see this doctor fired rather than allow him to further the... I mean, you can see with...
You've gone quiet, V.
Can you hear me?
Well, vaguely. You've gone quiet.
I don't know why, though.
Oh, okay. Carry on. I'll...
I mean, you can see how people who win the Nobel Prize and they get fired because they offend SJWs. They don't care about the person. If you're making a mislife, you need to be fired.
V, that's just an isolated case. It's only happened to one PhD Nobel Prize winner.
Actually, it also happened to the shirt guy, the incident.
Oh yeah, did he? Yeah, but he's not a Nobel Prize winner yet.
No, he just had to piss his eyes in the camera and make a mockery out of himself in front of the whole
Look,
world.
there is no totalitarian social movement called social justice. This is all a dream.
Oh, I need to go back playing my video games.
Now, let's look at some of the miscellaneous statements that you've made.
And the thing is, you say that, let's not fetishize hard science. What empiricism? Are you insane? Are you suggesting there's something more important than reality? I don't think that is something that can be fetishized. I can't believe you would think, well, I mean, that's a good start for a worldview, but maybe I'll choose not empiricism as the basis of my worldview.
At no point did I suggest that we ought to discard hard science. I said that we shouldn't fetishize it. Hard science is a very powerful tool for understanding the physical operations of the world that we're living in. Hard science tells you a lot, but it does have limits. It doesn't tell you absolutely everything, right? It doesn't give...
Oh, really?
Well, I guess I don't know much about science then. I thought it literally did do that. What?
Well, hold on. He might have a point, right? We still don't know everything.
I hope he starts talking about morality next.
Anything that science doesn't know is definitely not covered by the other fields that are not scientific.
Man, let him go on. I want to hear him talk about his feelings.
Yeah, because I assume he's going to start talking about morality now and right and wrong. And
that's exactly the Christian's argument. The creationist is like, oh, science doesn't know anything, so clearly what science doesn't know means that creationism is right.
Yeah, but that's the thing. This is the thing. Science isn't about right or wrong. Morality. It's about incorrect or correct. There's no moral judgment in a set of data. The only moral judgment comes from the people interpreting the data.
Science is a social construct.
Mate, there was literally a board I fucking retweeted where it literally said science was a social construct. I'll find it. Hang on, I'll find it and put it on just because it was...
Yeah, and they probably used the marker, which is made by science, to write that shit, right?
Without a doubt. I'm just going to get it, just because it's just one of those things where it's like, right, okay, this exists. How do I deal with this existing?
Art, you like science, don't you?
No, perfectly. I personally agree with the guy. I would like to refute the current reality and live in one in which catgirls exist and the God Emperor watches over me. I'd prefer that version of reality.
You know what I would like? I would really want, when this guy has an appendicitis, instead of going to the doctor, he should go to a feminist. And it's like, teach my appendicitis not to hurt me, feminist. Tell my appendicitis what a misogynist he is so it would stop hurting.
Right, I just want to take everyone's attention to this class, where there is a teacher teaching this class. The takeaways are that race and science are both social constructs developed through colonization. Science wouldn't be possible without colonization. These are students learning this for exams. And he's like, well, you haven't proven there's a systemic problem. Dude, are you fucking serious?
Exactly. This is the problem that I hate, because people are saying, oh, if you ban social justice courses, you're banning their freedom of speech. This is not freedom of speech. Students don't have to listen to this. Students have to learn it, memorize it, and get a passing grade at an exam.
Yeah, that's just...
I like the one at the bottom. Words have meaning. Words can hurt.
No, words have meaning that they're prepared to redefine.
Do you know the funny thing is that I heard one of these people saying that 80% of words are all about communication. That communication is only happening through words. 80% of communication is nonverbal. Is the inflection of your voice, is the body language that you have. Like words that don't really have meaning. You can say the word, let's say cunt or faggot, right? And if I say the word God hates fags, it's a different connotation than if I go to Sargon and I say, hey, faggot, what's up? What you doing? Same word, different meanings. And to say that words have meanings and we need to police them is not actual solving the problem, which is the actions of people. They were probably going to go to that as well later on after they fix the words.
Quote-unquote discovery is rooted in colonization and is something presumably taking away agency from indigenous communities. These people are fucking insane. This is nuts. But sorry, Mr. Angry.
Someone said, someone said treat cancer with cancer. They actually tried at one point to treat HIV with leukemia. So you might not know what you're talking about.
How did that go?
Well, HIV is a virus that destroys the white cells of the body when they're reproducing. Leukemia basically makes the white cells reproduce too much. So Like they tried to make an experiment where they tried to combine these two illnesses.
Yeah, it didn't go well, right?
No, it's still under development. We don't know how it's going to go.
I'm looking forward to hearing it. Well, I hope that's not on humans. What? I mean, I assume it's on animals.
Or sorry, the other way around. Leukemia with HIV. Because if the cells are multiplying too much, and you have this virus which stops them from multiplying, you might actually increase the life. You know, if.
Yeah, that sounds like the cure's probably worse than disease. But okay, let's
give you the answer to questions about ethics and morality, or what art and beauty are.
I knew it. Fucking knew it.
There we are.
Morality, yeah.
Just, I love that he's going to start talking about ethics and morality as a communist. But, just, no, mate, science is the base, it's the starting point for establishing objective reality. Then, we start deriving or applying moral standards and ethics to it. For fuck's sake, man. Science, how do you think...
Well, there is a difference, Argon. I can argue with you here.
Go.
What do you do when science tells you that black people have less IQ?
Nothing.
Accepted as fact.
Yeah, accepted as fact. What do you need to do? Why does
Well,
something need to be
what
done?
morality do you drag from this? You know?
What? Well, why do you? What do you mean? Well, there's nothing to derive. It's not like a right or wrong statement.
People will disagree with you. You know, they would say, well, we need to stop reproducing with the black people, for instance.
Well, if they don't want to reproduce with black people, that's entirely their choice, and they can choose any reason they want to not reproduce with black people. It doesn't
my point is that he might have sort of an argument here.
No, but
not
at all. There is nothing that necessitates us doing something with low IQ black people. I mean, we don't do anything with low IQ white people.
He is saying that science doesn't know everything, as in we can't take morality from science. This is his fact.
No, I agree with him. I agree with him completely. We can't take morality from science. Completely. And I'm in no way suggesting that. But if we want to apply morality and ethics to the real world, we have to know what the real world is. You know, if we've got some fucking warped ideological bullshit construction in our head, and then we're like, turns out that white people are racist, and black people can't be racist. I mean, maybe that sort of morality and ethical code starts going you down a dark path, because you started from a point that isn't representative of real life. That's why... I mean, science has obviously got to be the foundational view, the foundation that you build a world view on, or at least I would have thought.
People are calling me cock, and if you are calling me cock because apparently I don't want to treat black people differently, then you should know Asians are smarter than white people. So if you're white, you should treat Asians as your superior because, well, they have bigger IQ than you, just the way you think that you should treat black people inferior. So... congratulations, you know, these scientific...
I love that there are people in chat going, oh my god, you stumped. It's like, no, I'm not stumped at all. There's no reason to treat someone differently because of their IQ. They don't lose any human rights. That doesn't mean that they are morally bankrupt or any more likely to do anything. It just means they're not as smart as other people. That's...
And the question is, like, how much IQ are we talking about? Because it's like 5 or 10 points lower.
Well, yeah, I mean, if
then it's not
they were
going
like...
to make that much of a difference.
If they were mentally retarded, then sure, they need help. You know, but again, low IQ isn't any necessary fucking sort of descriptor of moral goodness.
I don't need an IQ test to talk with a person and immediately realize if they're mentally retarded or not. You know,
Sure.
If I talk with someone and they're dense, I'm going to stop talking with them. I don't need to look at their skin color before like deciding, oh, okay, this is black, probably, or this is Asian. Clearly, he's going to be more smart than me.
Yeah, like I said, none of this necessitates anything, but for some reason, I guess it's the racists who think it does. But anyway.
It can be instrumental in answering some of these questions, but it doesn't give you everything that you need to answer them. When I say let's not fetishize hard science, I'm not saying let's not use hard science, I'm saying let's not just use hard science.
How could you just use hard science to make a moral judgment? How could you do that?
But honestly, though, I think he's missing the point. We want to use hard science in this petition to see what's right and wrong. After that, you may build your morality upon a correct basis. I don't think anyone is suggesting changing the morality, just checking the facts.
The thing is, university needs to have some standards. Like, at university, you know that you're teaching people the reality, okay? So when you make statistics, you make them in a way that they follow some guidelines. You don't go and you interview like 10 people, and then you're like, okay, we interviewed 10 people, and this is the statistic that we came up with. You know, you need to make sure that the facts that you are teaching them are facts. So you don't teach the 1 out of 5 women getting raped statistic, and then the president gets to say it. Because the thing is, the people who say this, they have the argument, oh, I am a PhD in gender studies, you know, and they use that PhD as some form of authority over what they are saying. You know, it's like the guy who moderated the debate between you and Christy Winters. And he was like, this is Christy Winters, she's a PhD, she wrote this book, and she wrote this, and she's a doctorate and blah, 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 and a university professor. Oh, and this is Sargon Novaka, the guy with the YouTube channel.
Yeah, but that's fine. I like I said, I asked for that. I'm fine with that.
Yeah, I know. But the thing is, like, when a normal person listens to this, someone that's not into feminism, doesn't know the definition, and hears this, is like, okay, so this is an important person talking with a guy on the street. You know?
Yeah. But anyway, he's concerned about morality, and so am I, which is why I'm against social justice. I mean, this is something that bothers me. But the point is, you're not fetishizing science, for fuck's sake.
No, you're using your British morality because you think it's better.
It's better than gypsy morality.
Gypsy morality is the best.
But we should also use other tools like philosophy when it's necessary.
And now I'm...
Yes, but why should we start out with that? He's completely going right past the point. He's like, no, we shouldn't fact-check them first. Let's do all of this nonsense first, then we can define it because of our fucking feelings. No, facts first, then you can go and extrapolate from that.
I mean, you could literally philosophize any kind of conclusion out of... Like, I mean, you would obviously come to different conclusions based on different data. You know, I mean, if you saw this data and it told you, you know, the logical interpretation was one type of worldview, you've got different data, and you've got another type of worldview, you're obviously going to have two separate philosophies because you have got two interpretations of reality. You know, how he thinks these aren't connected, like the philosophy comes first and then reality is a secondary consideration or something. You know, a philosophy that doesn't represent reality, what fucking good is that? What, you know, philosophy, like communism, in fact. What am I talking? I'm talking to a communist. What am I fucking asking for? Fucking hell, that's a dumb question. Sorry, I didn't mean to ask that. That was self-evident by context.
By the shirt.
Saying
the shirt is triggering.
I didn't even think. It looks like the Hound from Game of Thrones. So I keep.
I don't care how it looks. I care what it represents.
Well, yeah. I'm not saying I don't.
Let's not use hard science. I'm saying let's not just use hard science. We should use it, but we should also use other tools like philosophy when it's necessary.
And now I'm starting to understand how you think anarcho-communism is not an oxymoron.
Oh, for fuck.
Exactly. Like, you need the system that keeps people in check. Like, if you want anarchism, Somalia, that's anarchism. Okay, that we have an example of a country that actually has anarchism. There is absolutely no law in Somalia. If you go there right now with a military force, kill one of the warlords and take his shit, you can have any single laws and regulations and impose everything you want.
He actually has made a video of it. I didn't know about this. I found out about this afterwards. But
you've been linked to this video because you've claimed that libertarian socialism is an oxymoron. It's understandable why you might take this position, because when these terms are used in mainstream political discourse, they are in fact conflicting.
So why are you facepalming in the other video, you moron? It's quite understandable why people would think that...
How exactly is anarcho-communism going to work? Like, how will it make sure that everyone stays equal? Like, you're going to have, at one point, a guy that fucks better than everyone else. Okay, it's communism, everyone needs to be equal. How are you going to make him fuck less so that he is now at the point where everyone is, you know, equal, as good at fucking like he is? I just don't understand. Like, how is this going to work?
Listen to the reason that you happen to have the wrong definition.
However, libertarian socialists aren't using these terms in the same way that they're used in mainstream politics.
Well, there we go.
Okay, let's find out. Stop.
No. It's a 7-minute video. We might watch it another time or something. But
can you tell me, like, his interpretation of it.
No, I haven't watched it yet. I literally watched that far and was like, well, fuck it, I don't care then. You know, if you've made up your own fucking definitions of these words, or you're using non-standard definitions, then you're just like an SJ. I mean, he's an SJW, but like all the others. I've made up a different definition to this word. Well, then why are you using my word? The word that everyone uses, you've decided to try and appropriate with your bullshit redefinition, so you can say everyone is racist and blah blah blah. You know, I'm a libertarian socialist.
I just figured out the motto for his channel. It's 50% less acne, 50% more communism.
But seriously though, it's like, okay, go on. It's a perfectly understandable thing, but go on. Tell me why it's not perfectly understandable.
Fuck's sake, I very recently made a video explaining how this is a simple misunderstanding of how...
Why are you not up to date with his channel? What is wrong with you?
You know, I don't know why I don't consume more libertarian, socialist, anarcho-communist media.
You didn't study for today. You didn't do your homework.
I will watch his video at some point though, because I'm genuinely curious. But yeah,
be up to date, every single one, because you might miss something important that he said.
Yeah, that's true.
The words are used in different contexts, right? And you responded by quote mining it on Twitter.
Hang on, dipshit. How is that quote mining? You just repeated that you're using the words in different contexts. I've taken the clip of you saying I'm using the words in different contexts, which is your meaning, your actual meaning. This is what you're trying to tell people. You start off by saying this and then explaining it. But I don't care what your explanation is. I care that you are using these words in different fucking contexts and different meanings. That's the problem. That's why whatever your fucking excuse is irrelevant. I'm not using your definitions, and I don't give a fuck about your definitions. Use them as the standard definitions, you cunt. What is wrong with asking people to do normal definitions?
Yeah, I mean, the thing that social justice is doing, and this is one of the reasons I want them suspended, is they will take a word like sexism, that everyone knows what sexism is in their brain, right? It's like horrible, a man beating a woman or hating a woman because she's a woman. That's the definition. And then they will change the definition to mean disagreement with a woman online. Calling a woman on twat over Dota is now sexism. Okay? And the normal person who doesn't know the new definition, when you're going to say V is sexist, they are going to assume that I'm a wife beater. You know, that I hate women because they're women. They don't know that when people say V is sexist, they actually mean that I called a woman a twat in Dota.
Someone in the chat's like, you just don't understand his definition of quote mining. And you know what, that's probably true. But seriously though, this is not a quote mine. You know, I'm not taking him out of context to make it seem like he's saying something else.
You need to do that to demolish his argument, mate. You really need to take him out of context in order to prove that he is wrong.
Yeah, but I don't need to. I can just take him out of context. Well, no, I don't
you need. In order to prove that a communist is wrong, you need to take him out of context. There's no other way you can.
Is this a usual thing? Right, okay, I should have thought about that.
Yep. He probably saw this himself and realized, God, I sound like a fucking moron. And went like, how do I explain this to myself? All right, it's not in context. That's why I sound like a fucking idiot.
Yeah, but this is like his basic premise for the video. The video explaining it. We're using different things. It's like, okay, well there we go. That's, you know, it's like with the Bible. In the beginning there was God. Okay, I think I've heard everything I need to know about this. You know, I just
took my opening statement and completely isolated it from the justifications that followed in order to give the impression that I'm making an unsubstantiated claim.
Well, now you're making a whole stream. I think we're in this for like 2 hours. Maybe he's going to be satisfied.
I have no idea whether his claim is substantiated or not. And I'm pretty sure I only found that out after I'd recorded the video he's talking about now, actually.
Someone said, like, look at his room. It is filled with paper, acne, and communism.
But I'm not contesting his claim whatsoever, and I love the defensiveness of this. And don't get me wrong, he probably does get this a lot, so I can imagine he would be really defensive about this. But I'm not contesting. I'm just saying, look, man, you call yourself this because you have different definitions for these words. You should probably use a definition that people would recognise, and then people wouldn't think that it's a fucking oxymoron. You know, it's what do you expect if you're going to use a definition that you're literally saying, well, I mean, I know that this is not what, you know, in common parlance, this is an oxymoron. Why are you surprised?
Look at the word cock. The word cock used to mean like a guy who allows his wife to cheat on him. And now it's being used to just disagreeing with people in the alt-right.
Yeah. And just words change, What do you want me to do about it?
These kinds of deceptive, disingenuous tactics are precisely why I'm not interested in doing a live debate with you.
I haven't offered you a live debate, and I haven't used any deceptive tactics.
People say one pimple equals one like.
Well, I love the presumption that I'm interested in doing a live debate with him. I don't
You
mean...
you have only to gain by talking with the guy that's a communist.
I don't think I've ever advocated for communism or been a member of the Communist Party, so I don't think we're going to get along. I wouldn't mind now I think about it.
You know what I would like to
quite
see?
enjoy talking about communism.
Hold on. I wouldn't like to see you arguing with him. What I would like to see is an alt-right arguing with him.
Oh, God, yeah.
That would be... I would pay money to have that, because they would agree on so many points.
Oh, that would be precious. But yeah, I've
Question
not
is if
asked
they
them
would
for
get
anything.
that far, though. If they would actually get to the point where they sound agreeing, or if they would just go like, "Hi, communist, fascist, communist."
That's
fascist.
literally what they'd scream at each other, isn't it? Because they are.
Like when you had people coming to America from either Germany or the USSR, they would have, the thing that they would have in common is the hatred for the Western civilization. But it would be so, you wouldn't be able to tell if they're coming from Germany or from the USSR. And you could easily indoctrinate one from the communism to fascism quite easily, or the other way around. But they would just hate capitalism. And it's the same with feminists and Islamists, okay? Both of them just absolutely hate the Western civilization. They despise it, because Islamists are actual fascists, neo-fascists if you want, and feminists are neo-communists, and it's the exact same thing. That's why they hate it so much.
Oh, it's gonna be like on the streets of pre-Nazi Germany, with the communists and fascists fighting.
Someone asked if the word cock means someone who allows his wife to be fucked, why do people want to see me fucking your wife? It's like, no. The alt-right changed the definition of the word cock, because what they really want to say is a betrayer to your race. This is what cock means. It means a traitor to your own race. But they can't say this, because then it sounds too bad. It doesn't sound good, so they use the word cock. It's the same with progressives using problematic. What they want to say, it's immoral. It doesn't have morality in it. That's why they use problematic. But it doesn't sound good. It sounds too religious.
Not
You
only
gotta
that, it's
give
fucking
them
wrong.
cock is a lovely word. It rolls right off the tongue. You cuck.
Yeah, I try to resist using it because it's such an overused word, but sometimes it is actually genuinely appropriate.
Yeah, that feminist guy that said that he allows his wife to fuck other people because
God,
that's actually a cuck.
literal cucks. But
Yeah.
Lots of books have been written which cover both the theory and the history of classical anarchism as a social movement, and all of them show that it is a decidedly socialist position in the sense of advocating workers' control over the means of production. Here's
okay.
Actually, that's something you advocated for, Sargon.
Yeah, look, that's interesting, isn't it? I'm not against workers having some measure of control of the means of production. I don't think that's entirely unfair. If they're the ones doing all the work, why shouldn't they at least have some say? My thought, though, was to kind of democratize corporations in some way, or something like that, and it's just pie in the sky bullshitting, really. It's just,
You should make a video about that. I'm really curious.
I haven't got like a solid position on it, but I think the way things are at the moment are pretty unsustainable. You've got people petitioning for a minimum wage that can never really happen because they're so poor, and there are too many different interlocking problems for there to be like a simple solution, obviously.
I thought about what you said. Like, after you said it actually made sense. But the thing is, no matter the system, there needs to be poor people, because
of
the
course.
resources of a country won't change, regardless of the economic system.
Well, it's inevitable. Like you said, in communism, everyone's supposed to be equal, but you had rich and poor. You know, there's no point trying to fight the idea that there's going to be rich and poor. The question is, how poor do you want the poor to be? You know, and I think that having the poor being not so poor is better than being really poor, because I'm a dirty liberal.
Can you tell the system that you have? It was something like the workers, instead of having like shareholders,
Well, yeah, I was just thinking about it. Like the problem at the moment is that like money's pooling towards the top, and I mean, I know the instant objection is, yeah, but how are things going to get funded? And I'm like, well, I don't know. And you know, crowdfunding. There are bound to be other ways of funding things, but if you had shares tied to job position rather than personally owned, then you would see a much more even spread of wealth across a corporation without any, you know, it's not excess money coming from anywhere.
No. Like the way you told me the system would be, we still have like funding, but let's say if we are 3 people and now we're hiring a secretary, that secretary would also have like a say in the company.
Yeah, well, they'd gain shares, and shares give you their voting rights on board decisions and stuff like that.
Yeah, but the question is like, who would decide how much shares who gets?
Well,
I
don't know. You know, I don't know. I'm just spitballing this, but like, you know, it's just something to think about. You know, it's not like some sort of fucking I'm not creating a manifesto or anything, but you know, it's just like,
it was an interesting idea. That's why.
Well, yeah, it's how to change the system without oppressing people. Basically, is what I'm trying to suggest. And this way, you're not taking money off of people, but you're just, you know, you're altering the way the system distributes money in a more, and I do think it's a more fair way. I mean, you know, and it's going to lead to increased productivity, because then every member of the company is going to make profit when the company makes profit. So, you know, it just means the rich aren't going to be as rich as they are, and the middle class and the poor might see a resurgence. But
you just hate the rich people.
Yeah, I just hate rich people. You know, that's
but you're becoming one of them, so careful.
Yeah, I'm basically a dirty commie, basically. But sorry, yeah, we'll go on. Let's hear about anarchism, that realistic political philosophy.
There's a small list.
Sorry.
Someone in the chat said, "I'm so ugly. Why am I picking on this guy? Because you know, not calling Kettle black." Mate, I don't mind people making jokes about how I look. You know, it's very hard to find like some defective flaw over my appearance, but if you manage to find one, go for it. I have nothing against it.
Something in the chat's like profit sharing has already been a thing. It has been for a long time. Yeah, I know, but I'm suggesting something a bit more further down the line. But again, like I said, it's just, you know, something to think about. I guess I just find it an interesting idea, and I'd like to see how a system like that ended up. But
people keep talking about you and your wife and being a cock. You're not married yet, right? You're living in sin.
Well, that's true. We're engaged.
So
yeah, we're getting married this year. But I'd call my wife just easier. But
workers' control over the means of production. Here's a small list of just some of these books.
What? Hold on, I need to watch this because I was watching the chat. Okay, go. Collectivist workers, self-management in the Spanish Revolution.
How long did the Spanish Revolution last for?
Not very long.
Was it something like a year or so, wasn't it? If anarchy works, why doesn't it?
Somalia. No, Somalia is anarchy. There is absolutely no rules there. You know, the only people making the rules are the warlords. If you manage to beat enough people and bend them to your will, there is no one stopping you that. You know, the thing is, if you kill someone in Somalia, no one cares. You know, unless you kill someone that belongs to a warlord. I
think it's worth bearing in mind that we are looking at a reading list about anarchy from someone who is also a communist. So, just more collectives in the Spanish Revolution. Wow, he really is into this, isn't he?
But of course, it seems like people would rather ignore this literature, because otherwise they might have to admit that maybe they might be wrong about something.
Or maybe we think the literature is wrong. I mean, just because there's a book, you know, the Bible exists, that doesn't mean there is a God.
Stop ignoring this literature. Just
Honestly, if this literature was actually worth a damn, he could probably point you towards one book and go like, okay, here you are, these are the goals. Instead he has to like, oh, and by the way, there's like 40 books with 40 different viewpoints, so...
the amount of books is what counts, not what's written in them.
Yeah, it's like me saying, suck my cock, it's good. And he's like, I don't want to suck your cock. Oh, why are you ignoring my cock? You know, it's like, how do you know it's not good? Have you sucked it? Because this is the argument he's going to read. It's like, well, have you read the book? It's like, you can't convince me that anarchy works when there is examples of anarchy in real life. It's not sustainable. You can't... Like, the powerful are going to take control. It's not the system that can sustain itself.
Yeah, but that's why they need communism now. Honestly, you haven't been thinking this through, V.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so first anarchy and then communism. Okay.
Oh, but we have. Thing is, I love this because basically he's arguing for Mein Kampf being taken seriously. You know, it's like you haven't read it. You haven't considered this literature. Why don't we just gas the Jews? You know, even though I don't think he even says that in there. Actually.
I mean, I can show him a ton of books that are from radical right. You know, Islamists writing. You know that we need to kill the Jews. We need to do this and do that and the Allah this and Muhammad.
Why isn't
that.
this guy a Muslim? You know.
Why are you ignoring all these books? You know that they're written by Islamic scholars. Why are you ignoring their literature?
There's actually a whole area of history and politics that they're completely unaware of. But you know what? Instead of continuing to waste my breath reiterating the fact that anarchist communism isn't an oxymoron for anyone who's actually bothered to do...
I hate stopping you so much, but I hate it when SJWs act like, oh, I'm wasting my breath. It is not my business to educate. You're an activist, okay? You took a diploma to become an activist. This is your fucking job.
He runs a YouTube channel dedicated to activism for libertarian socialism.
Imagine a doctor who is like, oh, I don't understand why I keep having to walk all the way to this syringe here to give your son a flu shot. You know? Oh, what a world, what a world. What? I'm actually having to do what I'm paid to do. Oh.
Their homework and read up on the subject, let me tell you what's actually an oxymoron. A petitions website called Change. Finally, I just want to say a few...
Alright. Yes, that seems to fit the description, doesn't it, Mr. Anarcho-Communist?
Oh my god.
The irony is, these petitions have changed things. They literally, I mean, they got GTA pulled, they got a fucking a comic cover pulled. Don't get me wrong, these aren't exactly major social issues, but these are things that happened.
No. They got the UK Parliament talking about banning the possible future president of the United States. Mate, I so wanted them to ban Donald Trump.
To be fair, I think that was on the government's actual official petition.
It's still a petition, and it tried to change things.
Yeah.
Okay, so I would really wish that Donald Trump would be banned and then become president, because that would be a clusterfuck.
But I mean, we have examples of these petitions on Change.org changing things. I mean,
hold on,
hang on. He's like, you're the ignorant one.
Yeah, but hold on, isn't the United Kingdom law that if, I don't know, 50,000 people want something, it gets discussed in the parliament?
100,000.
100,000. Okay, so it's part of the law of the state he lives in. Like, why is he wanting communism if he doesn't even understand the legislation he lives under right now?
Well, I think that's probably why he wants communism. To be fair, this guy's not, like, he's not an idiot. He's just really ideologically driven.
You know, in the future, after 2016, the stupid people won't be the ones who don't learn anything. It's going to be the people who learn and can't unlearn what they learn.
Yeah, literally like this guy.
Things about your opening statement, because I get comments like this all the time from people who used to be subscribed to me before I adopted some views which, boo-hoo, they found a little bit unpalatable because they feel uncomfortable that they're not having a YouTuber that's just going to tell them what they want to hear.
Tell me what I want to hear, Sargon. Please, tell me, Lord. Tell me more.
I love how he downplays the effects of communism. Just 180 million people dead in the 20th century compared to democracies. I think it was 29 million. And, you know, he's just like, well, they just find it a little bit unpalatable. Dude, it's worse than Nazism. You know, it's...
Hey, there is a guy who defected from the KGB during the communism times, during the Cold War. And he said in a presentation, okay, because the guy was really high up, and he said, the communist activists in other countries, you can take them to USSR, you can show them the gulags, you can show them the atrocities of communism. They will not change their mind on this. There is no way that you can convince someone who is disindoctrinated to change his mind.
Yeah, no, and it's true, and it's absolutely true. And the thing is, it's not necessarily they don't believe the gulag's happening. I think it's that they think this is all justified. This is the whole collectivism thing. You know, there's an out group. It doesn't matter if the out group are in gulags. You know, what matters is the communists are putting them there.
The only way they changed their mind is after Russia took over their country, because this is what they did, right? They were advocating for communism. They created instability, like economic crisis, social crisis, and then you had the Russian army moving in to normalize the situation. And these were the people the Russians would shoot the first, because they would now see what horrors they have unleashed, and they would be the biggest opponents to the Russian military, you know, which was, of course, bringing the glory of Mother Russia and communism into their country, which is what they were advocating for. So they would be the first one shot. These people would be journalists, university professors, student activists. The KGB guy that defected from the USSR said that the moment he defected is that when he saw a journalist that he spoke with and he was advocating for communism, staying in a ditch, being shot dead by the Russian commissars, because, you know, even though he was agreeing with the Russians, he was now a person that had to go. Okay, we're into the normalization period now. Okay,
Yeah.
all the nonsense, all the bullshit gets to stop. We are bringing normalization.
Yeah, 100 million deaths for communism, not including, you know, any other collective ideologies, just communism itself. 100 million. People find it just a little bit unpalatable. They've unsubscribed. He doesn't know why. Just boo-hoo. That's it. Boo-hoo.
I'm curious if there is a collective ideology that didn't bring the death of people and is not oppressive.
I doubt it. Man, I remember when you used to be cool. You know, before you became a crypto leftist, anarchist, fascist commie, or whatever label you've chosen to adopt this week, man.
When I get these comments from people saying to me, "Oh, you used to be so cool until you became a feminist," it just makes me.
What?
You know, we have this saying in Romania: if a lot of people say you're drunk, maybe you should go home and sleep. So basically, if you're not the only person that told him that you used to be cool, you should just like ponder a bit. Like, you know, when he's sitting on the toilet shitting, you should have like his fist in his chin and wonder about, like, why do so many people say I used to be cool? You know, maybe they might have a point. And different people, they never speak with each other, you know.
I just love it. It's like, let's see what he has to say.
Cringe, because it reminds me of a time when I used to hold very anti-feminist, I would say misogynistic beliefs, right?
Holy shit on the pipe.
And here it comes, the self-hatred.
I remind, before I was a Christian, I used to do a lot of sinful things. I used to pick on my hole when my parents were fucking. I used to,
Jesus Christ. But yeah, you used to masturbate or something. Exactly. It's exactly that. It's,
you know, and then one day I sat on the toilet, and while I was shitting, the hemorrhoid looking like Sargon of Akkad hurted me, and I realized I found Jesus.
Actually, he found Marx, I think. But I love that this is where it all comes from. It's this that if you can convince someone that they have been living their whole life being terribly misogynistic to women. I mean, this guy probably loved his mum and all this sort of stuff, but now he's like, Christ, I was being terribly misogynistic. Man, they are going to adopt whatever new worldview that they've chosen with fervour, like this. You know, it's fueled by their guilty conscience.
Before you start the video, I haven't seen it, but I guess what follows is going to be him with a whip. I'm sorry, I won. I'm sorry, I'm a male. I'm sorry, I won.
Well, and the thing is, mate, it's like, okay, you hate women, but that's not why I'm against feminism. You know, just because you hate women, that doesn't mean I need to do anything differently.
I hadn't read anything politically. I hadn't engaged with any of the relevant authors. The extent of my exposure to politics was just having watched a bunch of YouTube videos. And I absorbed what they had to say because I wasn't thinking critically, and it confirmed my pre-existing prejudices and I didn't think that I was feeding into anything unjust.
Description
God,
of communism right there.
This is exactly what a Christian would say that used to be an atheist. You know, I used to be an atheist. I would hang around the atheist circles, and then one day I saw Venom Fang X on the YouTube screen, and I fell in love. I found Jesus.
I saw the light.
But everything he's saying there is literally applicable to him with communism. I mean, it's just like... And the thing is, I don't just read... I don't just watch fucking videos. I buy the books and I read them. Because I'm genuinely morbidly curious as to how much they sound like Nazi propaganda.
We actually lived through this shit! I'm supposed to learn it in the first grades of school, my god.
But you know what? I was a young teenager. I didn't know any better
Was.
and have since renounced these views. But Sargon's how old? Like late 20s, early 30s? And,
I
you know, he
fucking wish.
holds beliefs that I did when I was in my mid-teens, but have since abandoned upon realising that they're completely unsubstantiated and wrong. I mean...
Well, there you fucking go then. Sargon is an old man. As such, he should know fucking better and understand that communism is the only way forward. When your fucking age becomes an argument, you fucked up.
Yeah. You really... I think this is... I mean, I'm glad this is the end of his video. He must have just been like, no, okay, I've got...
Not to mention this, but usually old people are smarter, because, I mean, you go through life, you have some experiences, you know? I'm not sure
Silly me.
I'm not sure.
Child, you knew everything. This guy's... Well, look at his hairless chin line. This man is still in the phase where he knows everything.
No, I mean, yeah, what I'm trying to say is that using this age as an argument is not really working unless maybe you're the old person here.
Yeah.
You know, it's like...
This is, yeah, I gotta admit, this is the first time I've seen someone argue like, this man is older and wiser than me, therefore his argument is shit.
Hold on. Look,
he hasn't
someone
read this
said,
anarcho-communist
I
literature.
used Sargons and these as sources during a speech for a Western civilization course I'm taking. The professor is Oxford educated, and she is relatively old. Initially, she balked.
And what
Wait, where
happened
you
afterwards?
that sources? This is cool.
I want to know what happened afterwards.
Yeah, like, contact Sargon on the Twitter, mate, and tell him, like, I'm curious what happened.
He's literally a grown man with the attitudes of a naive teenage boy.
Don't say that like it's something shameful. I've worked very hard to keep my naive teenage boy attitudes, thank you very much. But B, have you considered that you have gone mental and are advocating for anarcho-communism? You've read 4 books or something on anarcho-communism in the Spanish Revolution, and you've gone, my god, this is the solution to all the world's problems, like every young ideologue. Like every single fucking one of them.
I think your son is more intellectually mature than this person.
My son is, actually. He's incredibly clever for a baby. He figures stuff out really quickly. It pisses me off. There's literally nothing you can't get one over on him. It's, you know, if I'm playing peekaboo with him, he knows I'm behind my hands. You know?
Oh my god. He knows. Shut it down.
Yeah, this guy
Shut it down.
thinks communism can work without government.
Genuinely cannot bear to watch any of the older videos that I made in 2011ish because of the sheer lack of self-awareness that I had and the fact that I had just uncritically adopted a certain set of values which, upon further inspection, turned out to be completely wrong. So
He's literally saying that all the people in Scotland, in his town, who share the values that he grew up with, which is where he fucking got them from, are just wrong. They're all wrong. Everyone is wrong, apart from this guy.
He still looks like he's about to cry. It's like there is a battle going inside him, you know, the black wolf and the white wolf, and who is going to win?
Oh man, I feel kind of bad, but this guy is just really funny.
whenever I get comments from people saying, "Oh, you used to be so cool until you became a feminist," I look back at how I used to be and just cringe. And you will grow out of it eventually. And when you
Let me show you the light, my children. The light.
This is exactly it.
I wonder how many sort of late 20s people went through like a Tumblr SJW communist phase.
Oh, wait, like a lot of universities were trying. This is what Russia figured out during the Cold War. It's like, if we want to turn a country into communism, we don't have to use any measure of force. All we have to do, we can do it through legal means, get university professors, get movie creators, get journalists to talk about communism, and eventually people will want communism.
You're going to look back and just cringe like never before.
I love the way he's talking to me like he's fucking in his 50s or something. You know?
I have lived experiences, Sargon.
He looks like he looks like he cried all night after watching your video. Just look at his face.
Why are his eyes so red?
Yeah, that's what.
Did they have acne too?
No, it's not acne, mate. I really think he's really emotional. Like, his blood went all the way up into his white face.
Yeah, no, I agree with you, but I just love this. Like, do you honestly think that you're not going to look back at your anarcho-communist phase and cringe? I mean, do you honestly think that in 20 years' time you're going to be like, yeah, I live in a commune now? You know?
Why did I ever suggest this?
Where does he see this anarcho-communism going, just out of interest?
So, you know, the time to re-examine your beliefs and move forward is sooner rather than later. That concludes...
People are saying his eyes are red is because he smoked weed.
He's not chill, man. He would be chill. He is not chill. There is no chill in this video.
I never smoked weed in my life, so I don't
Trust
know.
me, I'm about to go out for a joint now. If he had smoked weed, he would be chill, and he's not. I just love everything he's just said there. I hope he comes back to this in like 5 years' time and watches this and goes, oh my god, what was I doing? You know, what was I doing? I was literally downplaying a totalitarian ideology responsible for the most deaths of any ideology in the 20th century and saying it was a good thing. Just
Mate, the thing is, if you actually take a gender studies degree, which he doesn't want suspended, right? You will realize there is no one wanting to hire you. Like, honestly, if I was hiring people to clean up the streets, never in my life would I consider hiring someone that has a gender studies degree, because that person has lawsuit written on his forehead.
Yeah.
Okay, that person is going to come into my business and literally try to stir up shit. The moment I would see gender studies or social justice or anything like that written on the application, it will go not into the bin, because someone might actually pick it up from the bin and would put it back on the table, heaven forbid. I would burn it to make sure that it is destroyed. This person is not going to have a good livelihood with his social science degree. And even though he realizes that what he proposed is wrong, he's not going to do another university like I had, because I bet my money on this, okay? I also do mind reading, and my mind reading is called logic. And he's just
it's not called gypsy magic, is it?
Yeah, he will have to play along with it. He will just have to keep spewing the bullshit that he doesn't believe in anymore. It's just like the priest that you taught me about at the UK church, apologizing for bringing up God.
Yeah.
Yeah, they did theology university. They spent 4 years of their life learning the shit. Now that they became an atheist, what are they going to do? Like, just say, okay, I quit? No, they're just going to keep doing it.
Yeah.
It's my response to Sargon. I hope you enjoyed it.
I loved it.
We did.
I did. It was amusing, yeah.
This is the last video that I'm willing to make about a meaningless, ineffective fucking petition that's going to do...
I love that this is the last one, not the only one. This is just the last one. And I think it's the last one because he honestly does look like he's about to have an emotional breakdown.
Yeah, it's
Absolutely
probably
nothing.
consuming for him. It consumes resources. He had to spend all the mana in order to do this shit.
He had to spend literally some time in front of his camera, and then he earned some money off of this. How fucking capitalist.
So I'd like to get back to making videos about things that actually matter. So for more anarchist content... Listen.
I might take this out of context. This is hilarious.
Time to re-examine your beliefs and move forward is sooner rather than later. That concludes my response to Sargon. I hope you enjoyed it. This is the last video that I'm willing to make about a meaningless, ineffective fucking petition that's going to do absolutely nothing. So I'd like to get back to making videos about things that actually actually matter. So for more anarchist content, subscribe to Libertarian.
Okay. No, here's the thing that I don't understand. No, I actually want to take this seriously, right? If I would advocate for atheism, and I would want Muslims and Islam to convert to atheism, right? The people that I would try to reach is not other atheists. This is not how activism works. I would try to reach the Muslim communities and explain to them, look, you're doing horrible shit and you don't have anything, worthwhile, and you need to stop it. I not only that, if I would see Muslims signing a 60,000 people petition trying to, I don't know, bring Islam into schools, I wouldn't say, oh, this is just a mindless thing, we should just, blah, 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 not treat it seriously. I would try to combat it. I would try to make my own petition or something like that,
You would at least try, you'd probably do something like he's doing, But I just love that. I'm going to stop talking about this meaningless petition that I've now made 2 videos on and I'm clearly very emotional about. I'm going to talk about something that's meaningful, like anarchism.
Man, I don't think he got so red even after having sex with a girl.
Yeah, right. But yeah, so this has been absolutely hilarious. Cam, if you end up watching this, I don't mean to laugh so much, but you are such a funny guy, man. Honestly, when you're making videos, you're hilarious, and you always have been, even as an anarchist. So yeah, thanks for joining me, guys. This has been fucking brilliant. I hope people watching have had fun. It's meaningful. Sorry.